Translator 9AB.
Powell, Knoxville.
P to the B with you on a Monday. Rice fans. They just don't do them like they used to. They don't do the screamers anymore. Back when radio was Kang. Tony B welcoming you to another edition. It is your Tony Basilio show. Fired up, focused, and more than prepared to be with you today. Feeling it, as it were, with you on an incredible, and I do mean an incredible Monday, here in the City to Champions. And you hear Bino over there clearing his throat. I got to give Will Heflin a lot of credit. That is one hard-headed kid. Miss Heflin, if you're listening to me, I'm looking forward to meeting you at some point. I love your son. But boy, is he hard-headed. And he gets a lot of credit. Bino, he was in here yesterday choking, okay? Trying to do the post-game. Choking.
It's a tough pollen time, Tony, for those who suffer in the spring.
Said he's never been sick with it before. I said, Will, when you're choking on the air, okay? When you're choking on the air, it sure would be great, Will. It sure would be really, really nice if you would, when I hand you a water bottle, drink from it. I mean, come on, kid. Come on, kid. Come on, kid. Bino, are you fired up, focused, prepared this morning, Bino? Because Laura's getting ready to slap me right in my fat face.
I will be after that happens.
Well, you're about to see it. Because she literally...
Keep the camera on.
Well, what happened was I just poured myself a water into my Brita filter bottle that I have. You know, one of the filter water things. And she watched me do it, and I splashed a little bit on the board. And she looked at me. She said she was telling me to stop when I first opened the water bottle. Bino, what were the chances I was stopping?
We were talking about hard-headedness earlier in the show.
Yeah, I'm getting on Will for that, right? Yeah. I'm not going to let her do me a favor, Jody Mack. I'm not going to let her, Jody Mack, do me a favor. So here we are. Brian Hartman, how was your sports weekend, and how did the Jags come out in the draft?
Well, mixed bag, I guess. Very, very disappointed about what happened Friday night in the ninth inning. You can't lose that game.
I can't get over that.
But especially, you won the series if you just hold on there. You've won 2 out of 3.
Gross,
you're feeling so much different right now.
Gross.
But I won't put it on one player. The Bats have to score more than 3 runs. Bottom line. You just can't leave so many men on base and have it not come back to bite you later.
That's the difference between you and me, Brian. When you're playing Division I third base, you got to make those plays, or you're not a Division I third baseman. I'm sorry. I mean, you got to make those plays.
Well,
man.
He's out of position. I don't know why. He needs to be playing his regular position of shortstop. That's what he played last year. Yep. That's where he's most comfortable. That's where he was best.
Or at least
I don't know why they're trying to fit a square peg into a round hole.
Or at least you have a defensive substitution there. But I'm a call it like I see it guy, and you got to make those plays. And for them to come back on Saturday, because that's just not quality baseball. I mean, those plays made in a high school field. But when the first one, which was kind of a tough play, Brian, when he threw that ball way over the first baseman's head, you knew that second air was coming. If you watch enough college baseball, you knew the second one was coming. I love Tennessee's resolve. I'll tell you what I love is college baseball. Because, Bino, here we are for both those teams. Both those teams have designs on playing in Omaha, and both those teams have a pretty good shot to get there. Now, some are going to say to me, you're being a sheep over the Vols. And Will Heflin said it best yesterday. How many times do we have to see Tony Vitello get his guys there, teams of all shapes and sizes, for us to believe, hey, these guys are going to eventually find some answers and be able to cobble enough to win 2-3 game series? Because that's what this is. At the end of the year, whether you're playing them here, whether you're playing them there, and I'm not so sure, I'm going to say this into a microphone right now, I'm not so sure this team wouldn't be better served in the Super Regional round going on the road. They focus better on the road. They play better baseball on the road. This team does, for whatever reason. And I don't know if it's that little off switch thing they have or whatever it is, but they acquitted themselves well this weekend to come out of that thing only winning a game. They acquitted themselves well, I thought, until yesterday happened. And, I guess yesterday was just going to happen. I guess that's the way of looking at yesterday. What do you think, Bean?
Yeah, Tony, I mean, losing 3 of your last 4 series, especially with 2 that were at home, that's certainly not ideal, not what we're accustomed to here over the last number of years. And when you blow a game like they did on Friday against your opponent's ace, especially a quality opponent on the road like LSU, I mean, it's highly unlikely that you're going to win the series. I do think there were some encouraging things, as you guys said. Liam Doyle was super again. Marcus Phillips' performance was the highlight of the weekend, as far as I'm concerned.
Yep.
And it should be a really good thing going forward. Keelan's return to second is a good thing as well. And Curley's unfortunate inning probably means going forward that we'll have our best defensive alignment on the field at most times. So that may wind up being a blessing in disguise as well. But I mean, it is crunch time now, Tony. As far as being a top 8 seed, if that's what Tennessee's goal is to do, then without question they have to take care of business in these next 2 home series. And this still right there in front of them.
Yeah, this Auburn team coming in, I didn't mean to talk over you, Bino, a couple times, I'm sorry. This Auburn team is pretty salty coming in. So I'm going to ask on the other side, are you worried about this baseball team? Because I find myself not worried. I was pissed yesterday, I'm not going to lie to you, and Will Heflin was in a horrible mood. If you listen to him, he was mopey and mad and mopey and mad. And he got on the air and said, I don't want to talk about it. And I'm like, well, you're doing a post-game show, so talk about it, kid. I love you, but talk about it. So now what is he, Bino? He's hard-headed, mopey.
And you've got him mopey.
And he's mad. I like that kid. He's. I'll tell you what was great about that show yesterday. Well, let me tell you about it and we continue. If you missed Garza Extra Innings with Will, it's his 3rd edition. And the callers on yesterday's show, calling from all over the country, really made him feel better as the show went on. And I've been there before. Because I'm like him. I get all in my feels. Man, he didn't even want to start the show yesterday. He's like, well, I guess we're on the air, and I guess I'm in here. And he was all like pollened up. And that series, though, the way it does something to you. It makes you feel like you're watching the postseason when you're watching the regular season. And as emotional as it gets, and our little shortstop, the David and Goliath thing that was going on in the late innings, and they kept hitting him with the baseball. Matt Dixon had a good point yesterday. I would have loved to have seen us throw at that Jones kid yesterday, at least back him off. Throw some high cheese at him to say, hey, man, kind of no offense to you, but we don't take kindly to that. You guys were hitting our guy last night. Past Tennessee editions, I said this, would have fist fought that team. It would have happened either Saturday or Sunday. Past Tennessee editions, you'd have had a fist fight. This team's a little different than that one, a little more businesslike, which can serve you. I guess if you take care of business, it can serve you. I'd like to see this team, and I guess you can't have it both ways, but we'll talk about this on the other side. I'm going to ask Bino and Bry this, and you. I'd like to see this team play with a little bit of edge. Chris Lowe had a really interesting, I want to refer you to go over to tclub.team. He had a real interesting, some math he did, compiling draft picks, rounds 1, 2, and 3. Tennessee's in the top 5 in the last 4 years in the SEC. Color me surprised by that. And Josh Heupel, when you look at that list, has really overachieved here compared to some of the competition in the league. We'll talk about that. I'm going to see if you agree with me that Josh Heupel has done more with less, which I think when you look at Tennessee's activity in the portal and the way the team sets right now, next couple of years, we better hope that's true, that he does more with less. And he has done more with less. So those are two pins to stick in today's show. We come back on the other side. I want to get your thoughts on all and any of the above as we continue with more. It's the Monday edition after this. Life never stops moving. And between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up. A tire designed for doers. A tire that's going to last. Like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire.
Jeff Hall here. I'm a partner at Rather & Kittrell Capital Management. And here at Rather & Kittrell, we understand that life is full of transitions. Since 2000, our team of dedicated certified financial planners has been helping individuals, families, and businesses navigate these changes with confidence. From comprehensive wealth management to tailored retirement plans, we're committed to guiding you toward a secure financial future. Ready to take the next step? Visit rkcapital.com or call us at 865-218-8400 to start your journey today. Rather & Kittrell is a registered investment advisor.
Out-of-town law firms have been swarming into East Tennessee lately. From Memphis, Chattanooga, and Birmingham, they've stormed into the area. Wouldn't you rather do business with a local firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and the pros at the Garza Law Firm are just that. There are neighbors and friends that support local causes year-round. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries and accident matters, and Social Security and disability filings. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at garzalaw.com. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Are you stuck in a dead-end job or ready for a new challenge? Do you feel like it's time to try a new career? Well, it's time to change lanes with TLD Logistics. My friends at TLD Logistics have some really exciting opportunities for you to learn a new skill. With a new 5-acre driving academy that's now under new leadership with all new course material. And the best part, it's absolutely free. What a great deal to set you on the road to higher pay. And TLD Logistics even offers weekly stipends to offset food and gas expenses. In 6 weeks' time, you could complete this course and be in compliance with FMCSA regulations. Then you're ready for the open road of opportunity. What are you waiting for? It's time to change lanes with TLD Logistics. Visit tldlogistics.com. That's tldlogistics.com. TLD Logistics.
Ward Dumpsters, your local and veteran-owned dumpster rental company, has 12 and 15-yard dumpsters, week-long and weekend specials. House cleaning, remodeling, yard cleanup, or construction, Ward Dumpsters has the dumpster for you. Servicing Blount County, Loudoun County, and Knox County since 2015, go to warddumpsters.com to reserve yours today or give us a call, 865-606-3011.
A lime is not always just a lime. You see, some limes are lucky. For when a lime joins the salted rim of a crisp, refreshing Tres Dos Equis, that lime is no longer a mere lime, but a wedge of renowned Mexican limón. Muchas gracias, limón. And also, de nada. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2024 Dos Equis, imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Why is it so stuffy in here? Don't tell me the AC's broken again. Ugh. No matter the season, a broken air conditioner, furnace, or heat pump is a nightmare. But if you need emergency HVAC repairs or need to invest in a new heating and cooling system, then call the trusted HVAC experts at Pipe Wrench Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. With the seasons changing, be sure to spring forward into savings with Pipe Wrench. This month, when you buy and install a new heating or cooling system, you'll get a new water heater for only $150. Or you can choose to get instant savings towards your new HVAC system equal to the value of the water heater. We also make it easy with free on-site estimates estimates for replacements and free second opinions on repairs. And if budgets are tight, we offer 0% financing with credit approval. We also offer a free 12-year warranty on select HVAC brands, including parts and labor when you purchase and install a new HVAC system. So call Pipe Wrench at 865-264-8090 or book online at pipewrench.com to schedule your appointment today. And as always, same-day service guaranteed or the visit's free.
Hi there, Basilio crew. Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. If you're thinking about selling your home, I've got good news for you. The East Tennessee and Knoxville areas are projected to have another strong year. I'll be happy to talk with you about the latest and greatest info you need. So give me a call at 865-694-5904 or contact me at nextmovesmokymountains.com. Hope to hear from you soon and go Vols.
Josh Collins at Collins Insurance Agency. At Collins Insurance, we strive to ensure our customers receive better coverage along with bigger savings. Our community is important to us. We want to provide exceptional service to our customers. Anybody can provide great rates, great coverage, but can you also get great service? And hey, don't just take my word for it.
What's up, everybody? Zakai Ziegler here. My family turns to Collins Insurance Agency for the best service, coverage, and price.
So don't just go online and get some random insurance. Experience the Collins Insurance difference.
Like he said, experience the Collins Insurance difference. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. And hey, their Mama Zizi approved. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. Thank you to Josh Collins and Zizi.
One more thing, Tony. Go Vols!
Preparing food for a big gathering can really take it out of you. That's why you need to call Calhoun's and check out their selection of party platters. Whether you're hosting a party for the big game, a reunion, or just an everyday gathering, a Calhoun's party platter is next level. Choose from Calhoun's always excellent chicken tenders, fly with Calhoun's wings, or boneless wings with a variety of dipping sauces, award-winning next-level melt-in-your-mouth barbecue ribs, or delicious spinach artichoke dip, or get one of each. Plus, if you're doing burgers or sandwiches, Calhoun's has lots of side dishes like spinach Maria, baked cinnamon apples, Smoky Mountain baked beans, or creamy coleslaw. Available in pints, quarts, and gallons. And to finish things off, pick up one of Calhoun's great desserts to go, including homemade cheesecake or key lime pie. Calhoun's, simply your go-to party headquarters. With 9 locations all over East Tennessee, you can order online and just pick it up. Calhoun's, one of the Copper Cellar family of restaurants, along with Chesapeake's, Copper Cellar, Corner 16, Cherokee Grill, and Smoky Mountain Brewery. Eat local, eat good. Portions of your TV show presented by Stinnett Collision, Maryville, and now in Sevierville. For 3 generations and 60 years, serving you online at StinnettCollision.com. It's always magnificent. Mondays on the Basilio Show, presented by our friends at Fleet Tire. I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. And now, back to B. So we're going to go to the phones here momentarily. If you want to get in, 865-200-5402. My name's Tony Basilio. Bino Jeff Henderson with us on a Monday, as is the one, the only Brian Hartman. Chris Lowe compiled, and Chris Lowe, I'll tell you what, man, he's one of a myriad of locals who've been very active on Twitter. Chris is well worth the follow on Twitter, unlike some, but that's another story for another day. Number of players taken in rounds 1 through 3, last 4 NFL drafts. Again, number of players taken in rounds 1 through 3, last 4 NFL drafts. Bino, did you see the list as we compiled it today over at tclub.team? And do you think that list holds any significance when we're talking about our college football?
Yeah, I do, Tony. It looked to be in line with what you would expect to who has the power programs within the league.
Were you surprised, being star, that the Vols are in the top 5 in our 16-team league over Josh Heupel's 4? Because I believe that was his 4th draft, and in 2 of those drafts, or maybe even 3 of those drafts, they included inherited players. Are you surprised we had that many players taken in rounds 1 through 3, the last 4 NFL drafts?
I thought we would probably be 6 to 10 rather than top 5, Tom.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, so somewhat surprised.
I was really surprised by it. So here's how it breaks out, and then we'll get to a few observations. And I'm gonna ask you, has Josh Heupel here kind of overachieved? 2 10-win seasons, made the playoffs. But let's get to it here. Number of players taken rounds 1 through 3, last 4 NFL drafts. Georgia is number 1 with 25 players. See, here's the deal with Georgia, and we have to be honest about this. Some of you are, some of you aren't, and I'm not here to tell anybody how to think. But they're playing a different game than the rest of us, Beanstar. They're certainly playing a different game than we are. 25 players, Beanstar, taken in rounds 1 through 3 in the last 4 NFL drafts. And listen, my Philadelphia Eagles do not win a Super Bowl without Kirby Smart and the players he developed. They just do not. The smartest thing Howie Roseman ever did, I was talking with our draft analyst, Goldbrick Joe. And Goldie told me, and by the way, Mike Detillier is going to join us in hour 2 today, kind of wrapping up the draft. The Shedeur Sanders situation over the weekend. But suffice it to say, Georgia, those defensive players that they put in the NFL, they are loaded down through the years. 25 players leads the SEC. Alabama up next, and one of Nick Saban's kids was... his recruits was drafted by the Eagles, a linebacker. Went in the first round, a surprise to some. Saban declared right there on ABC Friday night with that guy that looks like a young Mel Kiper. I don't know if you saw that kid that looks like a young Mel Kiper that was over there on the right next to Saban that night. That somehow ESPN found a guy that looks like Mel Kiper 35 years younger. Same hair, same look, same deal. At any rate, he said, that's a great pick. That's a Philly kid going back home. Yada, yada, yada. Next on the mic is LSU rounds 1 through 3, last 4 NFL drafts with 13 players. Now, Bino, I predicted when Brian Kelly took that job that he would not last down there, and I think this is his last year coming up. I think it's Brian Kelly's last year coming up there.
Yeah, that will be interesting, Tony. He's been, to this point, he's been the anti-Josh Heupel as far as overachieving goes.
Yeah.
I think he's pretty much underachieved.
Couple years ago, when was it? 2 years ago? Now 3 seasons ago, Heupel pulled his pants down and spanked him at midfield. Went down there and threw all over him. That was one of the more glorious days probably in the last 20 years of Tennessee football. That has to be a top, would you guys say top 5 day, top 10 day? Because that was really the time where we knew, hey, we've got something here. He's got something here. That was kind of the day we knew we had something here.
Yeah, I wouldn't rule out top 5, Tony. I certainly think it's a top 10 in that period that you're talking about easily.
Moving right along. And there's something fun and special about going down and winning at LSU, too. Texas, it doesn't matter who the coach is. This is a time period where they've changed coaches. They've had 13 guys drafted just kind of accidentally in rounds 1 through 3 of the last 4 NFL drafts. Texas doing Texas things, and they're going to spend that oil money, and they're going to spend it wisely. And they're going to spend it well. Well, not necessarily well, but they've got 13 players taken. And Tennessee is 5th in the SEC with 9 players taken in rounds 1 through 3, last 4 NFL drafts, which I find highly significant. But I also find it to be interesting. Because what it shows me is Georgia obviously has outperformed Tennessee, but how many playoff appearances or how many 10-win seasons, Bry, for Alabama in the last 4 seasons? Well, we've had 2. I know they got to a national championship game.
They've had at least 2, probably 2 or 3.
Yeah. For them to have 23 players drafted in the rounds 1 through 3 in the last 4 drafts and fall off like they did last year doesn't make any sense.
Well, they won 9 last year, so I don't know if they really fell off.
LSU, well, that difference between that game,
but I guess
a game down there, Bry, is falling off. A game difference is falling off there. Which would be an interesting discussion. In college basketball, 1 football game is worth how many games? In college baseball, 1 football game is worth how many games? I mean, 1 game, losing to Tennessee, how weighted is that? You know what I mean, Bino? Like, it looks like 1 game, but it's actually in football, when you only get 12 of them, it's a lot more than 1 game. It's really significant.
Yes, well, it is, Tony, and I guess that's the beauty of being a college football fan, especially, is every Saturday in the league is just almost a must if you're looking to make the playoffs or play championship level football.
Moving along. Ole Miss is next. They're 6th in the league with 8 players taken in rounds 1 through 3 in the last 4 NFL drafts. We're talking about Mississippi here, guys. Bino, are you surprised to see that they're 1 player behind us and in 6th in the 16-team league? Because I got to tell you, that's pretty shocking to me.
Oh, well, I mean, Kiffin's obviously done a masterful job there of rebuilding their program. And he's done it in a way where he's more taking on experienced, proven players and then elevating them than going the high school route.
He's almost like the Rick Pitino of that deal right now. The way he's not even, it's not even about the high school ranks, making no bones about it. I think if our job ever opens, Lane Kiffin's a guy worth talking to if he's still at Ole Miss. Am I right or wrong, Bino, in that?
No, you know that I'm a believer in that.
Because I'm telling you right now, you imagine him with our budget. Because one thing we knew about Lane Kiffin when he was here, his staff and organization knew how to find football players. And I think if he would have just been mature enough to stay here, we would have seen that. Now, look, he's a goofball and he's screwy and he likes to hang around on Twitter and mix it up with people, but he's got a gifted eye for finding football players, for finding talent. When you look at how many players they had taken in this draft, how in the world did that team, Bino, lose to Kentucky? While I'm praising him, I'm also going to say he underachieved last year.
Yeah, I have no idea, Tony. We talk about Tennessee taking advantage of a favorable schedule. That's something Ole Miss and Missouri were unable to do.
Yep. Because Ole Miss and Missouri were, about a year ago, when people really started to dig down on who has what and where. And, once this little portal window, once the rest of the spring talent, once it gets to where it's going to get to, then we can begin to assess. Right now you can assess what most teams have, but then we'll be able to assess who has what, who plays whom, and how it's all going to shake out. Missouri and Ole Miss were 2 of the sexy playoff picks for last year, and the more you dug into both schedules, the more you kind of went, one of those teams probably going to get there. And the smart money was on Ole Miss until, well, that was That was a mystifying defeat at the hands of Kentucky. Speaking of whom, well, A&M's up next. They're tied with Ole Miss with 8. So they're tied for 6 players taken in rounds 1 through 3, last 4 NFL drafts. How about all that money they spent on Jimbo Fisher? How about them getting out of the gate first with the collective? Nick Saban accused them of buying all their players, which, by the way, back then, as we've now learned, was legal. They were just the first into the pool. One of those guys they bought was drafted out of Ole Miss over the weekend. The kid from Powell in the middle of the first round, Walter Nolan. Who you could say money's exchanged hands a few times for him. But, at the end of the day, Bino, A&M has had so little to show for it. A&M football, just, you talk about something not meant to be.
Well, you've called it all along, Tony. You've been on the money on that one. It's popcorn flatulence is about as good as description as any.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, whoa, boy, did you just do something? I don't even get a hint of it over here. A&M football in a nutshell. Up next, Kentucky has 7, which I think is remarkable. So Kentucky is 2 players behind Tennessee, rounds 1 through 3, last 4 NFL drafts. And as Chris Lowe's compiled this smacks as being, I think that's a stat that makes sense to me. Because when you watch Kentucky week in and week out, they put a representative, pretty good football team on the field. Brian Hartman, that's my sense of Kentucky. A representative, pretty good football team on the field in the SEC ranks. Kind of a middle of the pack. I think they're like 8th here on this list. And they're okay,
But how many times has Stoops finished with a winning SEC record?
Yeah, it's about what they are. But he's still dangerous. When you play them, you still have to pay attention. Hey, I'll tell you something they've done that we haven't been able to do. They beat Florida regularly, which leads me to this one.
Tennessee's beaten Florida 2 out of the last 3 years.
Well, you should have beaten them 5 out of the last 6. I mean, let's be honest here. Florida is, compared to past Florida eras, they're mid right now. How do I know that? Because this list tells me that Florida and Oklahoma in the last 4 NFL drafts in rounds 1 through 3 have had 6 players taken. When they have it cooking at both those schools, they do that in 2 years easy. Now, Bino, we followed these sports for a long time. Am I lying? Oklahoma and Florida, when they have it cooking, in 2 drafts, easily have 6 players that will go across 2 drafts in rounds 1 through 3. Across 4 drafts, Florida and Oklahoma, 6 players each. I mean, that says it all. That's why Oklahoma looked mid last year on the football field, because this guy's not recruiting. And the other guy took a lot of their players that would have gone highly in the draft. That's the other thing that happened. But that's the transfer portal era. They haven't either been able to attract them or keep them there. It's kind of weird, Bino, to see Florida and Oklahoma with only 6 players taken in rounds 1 through 3 of the last 4 NFL drafts. And it is very much worth talking about, Beanstar, because I think it highly explains what we've seen from them.
Yes, and it's and I know they have to share with several major universities and Power 4 football programs, but in the state, it's more stunning to me that Florida would go through that than that Oklahoma would, just because of the number of football players in the state of Florida.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's a good point, Bino. That's a really good point. Florida might be more surprising on that list than Oklahoma when you think about just their proximity to players. However, Oklahoma's history, Oklahoma's passion, the fact that really it's all Oklahoma has. And if it's not all they have, it's really all they care about. Who's the guy, Bri, at ESPN that works there as an anchor that decries the fact that even though they've had a very good baseball team or they went to a College World Series a few years back?
Dari Nokwa.
Yeah, he's like Dari Nokwa.
But, Oklahoma has been able to be pretty good because they look at Texas as sort of being in state. They get a lot of kids out of Texas.
Absolutely.
Texas, and that's sort of how they build their program and how they've been so good all these years.
They rake them from that region, which leads me to this. Another team that used to have the rake Bino back in the day, R to the A to the K to the E, is Auburn. Now I want you to tell me, Bino, how Alabama can have 23 players in the last 4 NFL drafts taken in rounds 1 through 3, while Auburn only has 3. That does not seem possible in any era to those of us who have paid attention historically down through the years to this stuff. That just does not make any sense.
Yeah, it's the Saban effect, Tony. He just basically took all the players that were considered in Alabama or Auburn.
Or is it
at a much higher level,
yeah,
much higher percentage than most of the coaching matchups we've seen throughout history there?
And here's the thing about Auburn. Down through the years, they've always cheated. They've always spent recruiting. We know that. Look, all these schools have, paid players. One thing I've never hesitated in a microphone is to pretend. I just don't. But now that it's legal, they should have better football players. Because they care there. Those people care there. They care. And they should have better players. And I don't know, does Ravano Freeze, is this year 3 for Ravano Freeze, Bri? And does he feel like he's moving to Bardio, Ravano Freeze, Bri?
Not so far. It's going to be his 3rd year.
I mean,
and they've got Jackson Arnold. I think they got Jackson Arnold down there, right, from Oklahoma.
Yeah,
for quarterback.
Yeah, I would have thought.
What I saw out of him doesn't really bring a whole lot of confidence.
I just can't comprehend.
Maybe with a better offensive line, I don't know.
Bino, I can't comprehend that Auburn franchise that we saw in the '80s and the early '90s can go 4 NFL drafts and only have 3 players taken in rounds 1 through 3. And I'll tell you something about Chris Lowe's list. It rings true. If you want to win in this league, you better pop some players out of your funnel in rounds 1 through 3 of the NFL draft. It's one thing to have a bunch of guys taken at the bottom of the draft. I'm not poo-pooing that. That's where those teams build and make their franchises in the NFL. That's where you win. But from a college football perspective, you can pretty much look at those. Like, look at Ohio State this year and their first the first couple days and what they did in the draft. There was no crime, now that you look back on it, in Tennessee getting mollywopped by them. You can say that 5 months later with a straight face. Okay. They took a pretty good professional team and beat us like they wanted to, Bino. What's the shame in that? Look at all those draft picks.
Yeah, I mean, there is no shame in that. Everyone knew that they had one of the best rosters in all of college football, if not the very best roster in all of college football.
Shame on the Yankees for throwing that closer out there for the whole month of April, Bino.
Closers are they're a protected species, Tony.
How many
times? You can't get anybody up warming up behind them because you might hurt their feelings, and you have to let them continue to go out there and blow games until it just becomes a point to where you can't do it anymore. I mean, they treat all those guys like they're Trevor Hoffman and Mariano Rivera, and they are not.
Your guy literally just had one of the worst months ever recorded, Beanstar. before they finally pull the plug on him.
You know, the strange thing is they say that after April, his ERA over the last 2 or 3 years has been 1+.
Yeah.
I mean, he just gets everybody out and doesn't give up anything. They should have kept his ass over there on the bench until Tuesday.
I knew I could trade Kiffin. Just out of nowhere. We introduced that into the conversation. All right. So if you have a thought on any of the above that we just talked about, I'd love to hear from you. I think that little list above and that exercise we just went through on the air proves that Josh Heupel is a more with less football coach. Do you guys find that a fair conclusion to draw? And I hope that stays that way, by the way. Because he ain't exactly lighting the world up on the recruiting trail right now, if you haven't noticed. So he's a more with less coach, Bino, to this point.
Well, I think you just look, Tony, I don't think there's any question that he's overachieved every year he's been here with the exception of year 3. He's exceeded expectations anyway, every year except for year 3.
And then one final takeaway, and we're going to talk to Mike Detillier about this in 20 because we're going to go to the phones right now. You knew the Cleveland Browns, Bino, were going to take the Shedeur Sanders circus. Because the NFL said no to the Shedeur Sanders circus over the weekend. And I'm back to this, you know. Like when we're talking about distractions and this and that, I'm going to put up with that from a superstar player. I'll invite it. But if this guy's a backup quarterback, why would I want to invite the circus into my deal? And circuses in the NFL can come in all shapes and sizes. Like, the Philadelphia media, I was listening to WIP over the weekend. They were talking about this in Philly. One of the guys was talking about an Eagles camp where they had Tim Tebow in camp. Do you guys remember when Tim Tebow had a cup of coffee with the Eagles? And it's not Tim Tebow's doing, but he was such a distraction. ESPN, it's hard to remember this, but they had their own reporter that would cover Tim Tebow every day. And the guy who was on the beat at the time was talking about this. He said that it was such a distraction for the organization because they had to accommodate these people, and it was all about what Tim Tebow had for breakfast, and the other players just kind of found it distracting, even at the professional level. And that was his explanation for why Sanders slid in the draft like that. He just thinks that those organizations at that level, if you're going to be a distraction, you better be a worthwhile distraction. And the league looked at him and said, you know, he's all right. For our level, he's all right. I'll tell you this. You knew the Cleveland Browns were going to do it. Because if there's one guy out there that loves a circus, it's Jimmy Haslam. Loves it. Loves it. Couldn't wait to get in bed with Johnny Manziel. Bragged at a homeless guy at the press conference. Told him to draft him. Which he said that into a microphone, not me. Couldn't wait to get involved with Deshaun Watson. Gave him the richest contract in the history of the NFL. Paid a king's ransom for him. Couldn't wait to get in bed with him. And then when I saw Andrew Berry and that Stefanski guy over the weekend, Jimmy Haslam, when they made that pick in their war room, that video that got released, he's bouncing around over there like he's walking on air. Those two guys look like they were in a hostage video. Bino, Jeff, how on brand is that they're the ones that broke the seal?
Yeah, I'll say this. They showed much more restraint than I thought. I thought they were going to pick him with one of their first 2 picks on day 2. And not only did they not do that, they took a quarterback in front of him. So I will give them that much credit, that they didn't think he was the answer. I'll give him that.
Finally, though, Jimmy said, guys, can I have my way? You know that's what happened. Let's take him, guys. We got to take him. They They jumped up a pick in front of the Eagles. Hey, Jimmy, I appreciate you filling our coffers with the Eagles. We were never going to take him, bro, because we have what you call serious organization, and you have what we'd call not a serious organization. No offense to you, no offense to the Cleveland Browns. No offense to anybody intended, but let's go to the phones. We got a lot to talk about. And Mel Kiper's meltdown over the weekend is one of the greatest things I've ever seen on wax. It was unbelievable, Andy. Hello and welcome in.
You want to talk about making something all about yourself? There's the perfect example.
Well, he's been incentivized to do it. It has been about Mel for 40 years on there.
Yep.
Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
Tony, this is Danny Boy here.
Danny.
You know, I hope you give me the floor for a second.
Hit it.
I disagree with you in your take about the portal in the wide receiver room, and agree with Bino's take. I've heard his take. I have a hard time wrapping my head around the Heupel recruiting portal deal, because if we're going to come at him for not adding people in the portal, we have to, in that same vein, have to appreciate the guys that did not leave the portal, like Boo Carter, like Mike Matthews, and the people who have left are guys who never made an impact on the team. So I think, you know, both can be one and the same. If he's not very active in the portal, he's at least not one of people go to the portal that were contributing or going to be high-level contributing factors for our team.
Okay, well put. Well said. If that makes you feel better, I mean, that's good. We've picked up 4 players in the portal. We are right now the sleepiest team in the league out of the portal. And I stand by what I said about it. It's very concerning and very worrying.
You know, and in the spring window, it is frustrating that we can't get a wide receiver here. But honest to God, how are you going to pitch to a wide receiver when you don't have a starting quarterback yet? And that's not his fault. I mean, his quarterback left in the middle of the night, whatever, Nick, you know, whatever the camp was. And another factor, if you're in the spring window, you're in it for a reason. It's just not the best of situations in general. It's not the best of portal situations. It's not the best for our team situation. I just think.
So you're satisfied with the job that he's done in the portal?
No, but what? Oh. But what more? But what can be? Sometimes you make chicken salad out of chicken.
How about you get off your ass in December and go get some football players? That's what I'm talking.
He kept.
Did he?
He kept guys from going into.
He added 4 players.
But he kept guys from going in.
Oh, come on, man.
That were going to.
Come on.
But come on.
Come on. You guy makes $9 million. Listen to yourself. The guy makes $9 million, man. I'm not worshiping a coach. Yeah. I'm sorry, Danny. I'm not doing it.
I'm not either.
It sounds like you are. No offense. It sounds like you are.
I don't worship at the foot of no one but the cross. But the thing is, you have to acknowledge that the people that he didn't let leave the program are the same as additions.
Huh? Okay, they're additions. Have it your way. So we got 6 players out of the portal. Danny, they don't have experience at wide receiver. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I don't. It's beyond unproven. It's beyond troubling. I'm sorry. They couldn't go get somebody? They've got millions and millions of dollars. Rick Barnes just spent $4.2 million on a 5-star. You know why? Because he rolled his sleeves up and went and got him. Come on, true, Danny. That is true.
But Barnes is also about culture, and so is Heupel. Both can be right at the same time.
What does that have to do with the price of tea in China? We're talking about
adding
players.
Because Barnes values his culture, and so does Heupel, clearly. We all have talked about it. But who's he going to take a flyer on a guy just to take a body if it doesn't fit his culture? It's been said.
So there's no culture players in the portal? There's no decent people to choose from?
I'm not the guy. I'm not the portal guy. I'm not on the roster. I'm just advocating for the fact that there's clearly effort. But it's just like sometimes are you just going to take it?
There's effort?
Going to take a guy for a body?
Okay. It looks to me like they didn't even try. And that's kind of what they did do. So that's what I'm going to say into a microphone, and it's troubling. I'm sorry. And I didn't
guess
do it.
We're going to find out, guys, going forward, if this is the right approach or not. Now, Tony, I disagree with you a little bit. You're looking at one aspect. They did think that they needed to bolster their offensive line, and they got 2 starters out of the portal for their offensive line. Now, maybe they've misevaluated what they have at receiver, but I do not think they thought that they really needed to get another receiver. We'll see going forward if that was the right decision or if it was the wrong decision. But it's not like they've done nothing in the portal.
They had they had zero choice on the offensive line. Come on now, guys. They didn't have any players.
But you can't erase that. That's what they want to do.
They had zero choice.
He wants to supplement in the portal, and he got 2 offensive line starters.
Okay. That's good then.
I mean, you can't say he's done nothing when he's done that.
He got 4 players. Got 4.
Tony, the portal is about plus or minus. Again, they throw that number out that week. Now, I'm not saying he doesn't need to be more active in the portal. He probably does. But that 21-4 number is a bull hockey number because the only thing you need to do is have a plus. Did you lose more quality in the portal than you gained? That's what it's about. And they're damn sure not minus 17.
Tony, on the way out, we had a guy that recruited at an elite level over there in Butchie Boy, and it absolutely brought us nothing. So I got faith in Heupel and what he's doing. We'll see. Time will tell. But y'all have a good day and go Vols.
Love you, brother. Yeah, listen. I think Heupel's done more with less, and we better hope that trend continues. That's all. I'm not trying to be funny about it. It's just those are facts. And if you look at the way the transfer portal numbers have worked out, like some of it's just totally silly and goofy, like Arkansas. They've got 38 guys coming, 26 going. Some of these teams in our league, and I'm not saying I want to be like that, where you take all your cards and just throw them into the pile after every year. But I would like a little effort out of the portal. I mean, you've got needs in your secondary unaddressed. The year before, you addressed your needs out of the secondary. I would have thought you'd have gone back and grabbed a few more cards. Look, they have the money. That's all I'm saying. They have the money. They have the money. How do I know? I watch Rick Barnes. That's how I know. They have the money. And some of these programs are kind of silly, like Auburn lost 23 players out of 20. I don't want to do that. But I would have thought if Tennessee's going to lose 21, add 9 or 10. That seems to be a pretty good number. Georgia lost 18, added 9. Texas lost 15, added 10. Those 2 teams have better rosters than we do. That's all I'm saying, Bino. To me...
I understand that, Tony. I understand. We're going to find out.
Sure.
They evaluated things properly.
Or we won't, because this year they're going to have a ready-made excuse with the quarterback situation. So, look, I hope it all works out. I'll just tell you this selfishly, and Bino knows this to be true as well. This job that I have, that I've chosen for myself, my life, and my sustainability is a lot easier to do when the football team's winning than when it's losing. First of all, my phone will ring when the football team's winning. But I've got this thing about me where when I speak into my microphone, the way I feel comes out of my mouth, for better or for worse. And Danny boy, I love your show, but I feel very, very safe and fair in my criticism of the head football coach. He makes a lot of money. He's not on a mercy mission to Calcutta, and us getting 4 players out of the transfer portal is not acceptable. It's not when you have that many needs. They had many needs in the secondary last year, and they got 4 guys, and they hit on 2.5 of them. I would have thought that would have whetted their appetite. Let's go back and let's do this again. It wasn't like they were bad at finding them. They did a nice job last year. That kid from Oregon State was one hell of a player. And they got him cheap. Bino, that's all I'm saying. I would have thought after finding a McCoy that they would have said, hey, let's go out and get about 9 of these guys. That's all. I don't know whether that's fair or not. But I can't help but say that out loud.
I think it's fair to question the activity in the portal, Tony, but what I don't know, I don't think it's fair to question the effort there. I don't know that the effort wasn't there. Maybe the results weren't there, but I can't believe they're just over there twiddling their thumbs. I categorically reject that.
865-200-5402. I come from the school of thought, maybe I'm wrong, that if you make an effort at this school with this budget, you're going to get your fair share. But we can visit on that in a second. To me, that's indicative of not putting enough emphasis on it. That's all. Maybe Bino's right. Maybe they're right. Maybe those guys have decided, hey, we're set at all these positions. I hope I'm wrong. I want to be wrong. I love saying I'm wrong into this. It does not bother me one bit saying I'm wrong on here. But I'm troubled by it. I'm troubled by it. We continue with more on the other side. Hour 2, Mike Detillier will lead off, and then we'll get back to some more phone calls. And we do that on the other side after this.
It's the hottest post-game show on the planet. Garza Law. Fifth quarter fan reaction. Fan reaction. As soon as the final gun sounds, we're live.
Tony Basilio, and we've got Chad Stockton with FC Alliance. Chad?
Well, I'm up in Johnson City, Tennessee with our FC Alliance North location that we started this past fall. We are doing well. We kickstarted the spring season with games this past weekend, and we've got more games coming up the next few weeks. So we're excited about what the springtime holds for us. Our girls' ECNL is also into the middle of their spring season. They hosted a huge weekend this weekend coming from Pittsburgh and New York, the teams they hosted. Good results, hard teams they played all weekend long. We've got such a focus on skill development and focusing on what's the right way to play for our kids as we continue to grow. We're expecting our programs to continue to grow like they have been the past few years. Our tryouts are coming up in late May. For the U12 and under, it's the middle of May, and then for the older kids, it'll be late May. But we're expecting to grow not only in Knoxville, but also in Johnson City.
And if you want more information, you can see what Chad's talking about and hear those kids and get involved. It's FCAllianceKnox.org. Again, FCAllianceKnox.org. Hey, Chad, thanks, man. Many happy returns, my brother.
Thank you, Tony.
Listen up, baseball fans. It's time to step up to the plate and get some new Tennessee gear from Alumni Hall. Don't you dare swing and miss by shopping elsewhere. Alumni Hall has the best selection, top brands for you to choose from. Shop in store, 3 Knoxville locations, or Bristol or Murfreesboro. Anytime online, anywhere in the world at alumnihall.com. Come grab your Tennessee baseball jerseys. Incredible. Oh, Coach Vitello's jersey, hats, decals, t-shirts, and so much more. Earn $10 in rewards for every $150 spent. Shop Alumni Hall, your ultimate Tennessee shopping destination. Go Vols from Alumni Hall. Tony Basilio along with the great Mark Griffin. And we're here to talk about our friends at Performance Medicine. And Griff, their slogan, stay educated, stay healthy. That's you.
Wow. I really like to think that, Tony, and I'd like to give Dr. Rogers a lot of credit because I definitely want to stay educated and healthy, and knowing that he's putting the time and effort in to make sure of my care, I want to encourage your listeners to put the time to learn and become educated and get to know Dr. Rogers and see if it can help with your health as well.
And there's a really, really easy way to do that. In fact, they've got their own YouTube channel. You can see Dr. Rogers for himself with his staff. It's called The Performance Medicine Show over at the Performance Medicine channel over on YouTube. Also, more information at performancemedicine.net. To our friends in North Knoxville, a brand new location over in Fountain City, now accepting patients. So many ways to reach Dr. Rogers. And like they say, stay educated, stay healthy. Performance Medicine, online, performancemedicine.net. TB here for Cedar Bluff Plumbing, a live and local company that's been serving our area for over 32 years and counting because every customer counts, and I mean No job is too small. Cedar Bluff Plumbing just voted #1 by City View magazine because multiple plumbing experts are on call to serve all your plumbing needs. Chances are there'll be a plumber in your area when you call, and they won't send some salesman to your house. You're going to get a high character, trustworthy, highly trained plumber who will serve you. Not like some of these guys that look like they came off the set of America's Most Wanted. Cedar Bluff Plumbing is Basilio tested and approved and will go the extra mile for you because Chucky Mack is a servant of the people and my consigliere to the throne, celebrating over 32 years of serving living volunteers. Cedar Bluff Plumbing. Call 588-4448. That's 588-4448. Cedar Bluff Plumbing. If you listen to the show, you know I'm passionate about people among us that get up every day and make our community better. That's why I'm excited to tell you about Stinnett Collision in Maryville and now Sevierville. For 3 generations and 60 years, Stinnett Collision in Maryville and now Sevierville are making it better. Founded on integrity and customer satisfaction, Stinnett Collision is a family business that for 3 generations has a family tradition of treating customers, well, like family. Simply put, when you trust your vehicle to Stinnett Collision, the job is going to be done right to your satisfaction. A lifetime warranty covers our workmanship. Couple our family ethos with Stinnett Collision's highly trained technicians with a major emphasis on education and industry trends, and you have a winning combination. Stinnett Collision uses the most up-to-date tools and equipment available. Plus, we're OEM certified in most manufacturers, including Tesla and Rivian. Stinnett Collision, celebrating our 60th year of serving East Tennessee. See more of our story at StinnettCollision.com. Thank you, East Tennessee, for trusting us at Stinnett Collision.
Attention Vol fans, are you tired of complicated, clunky fleet technology that makes your job harder? Say goodbye to frustration and hello to Connexial, your hometown partner in logistics. It's time to rev up your operations with next level fleet management from Connexial. Connexial is here to keep your business on track with technology that works as hard as you do. Our game-changing ELD gives you more than just hours of service. With AI-powered dash cameras and real-time asset tracking, you'll have eyes on the road, cargo, and your fleet from anywhere, anytime. And the best part, our friendly US-based customer support team is just one phone call away. No more long wait times or frustrating tech talk. Just real people with real solutions. With Connexial, you get a professional team you can trust and easy-to-use products that keep you on the road. What do you say, Tony?
I'm ready. Make the smart move and call Connexial today.
865-888-6920. Learn more at Connexial.com. That's KONEXIAL.com. Drive life with Connexial and go Vols.
Jeff Hall here. I'm a partner at Rather and Kittrell Capital Management. Life is full of transitions. Planning for retirement, managing investments, or navigating major life changes. Here at Rather and Kittrell, we're here to guide you through every step. Visit rkcapital.com or call 865-218-8400 to start your journey toward financial clarity today. Rather & Kittrell is a registered investment advisor.
If you're not planning to head to the brand new Covenant Health Park this week to see your Knoxville Smokies in action, what are you waiting for? This week, great promotions every night, including Peanut Free Night, honoring our healthcare workers, one of our favorites, Star Wars Night, and get all dressed up for halfway to Halloween. Get your tickets now at SmokiesBaseball.com.
Ward Dumpsters, your local and veteran-owned dumpster rental company, has 12 and 15-yard dumpsters for week-long and weekend specials. Spring cleaning, remodeling, or yard cleanup, reach out to Ward Dumpsters today at warddumpsters.com.
It's always magnificent. Mondays on the Basilio Show, presented by our friends at Fleet Tire. I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. And now, back to B. We've been blessed enough to be doing business with the great one for so long. I mean, I don't even know where to start. And I love the great one. He's the great Mike Detillier. He's a great follow on Twitter. He's incredible fun in New Orleans. He's highly informed. He's on the spot. He's intergalactic. He's infrared and ultraviolet. Mike Detillier, how we doing, my man?
I'm doing just fine. Thank you, Tony. Always my pleasure.
Brother, it's been a long time since the Book of Love, and what a crazy weekend that was. And Bino, the great here, and Brian Hartman, we were kind of laughing as a prelude to visiting with you over the fact that Mel Kiper made this deal so much about him over the weekend. And you, as somebody that really follows and really gets steeped in the draft, is it hard when you miss like he missed, as badly as he missed? Is it hard to come off a take like that, hey, the world's against me? And do you have an example of that on a guy that you, before a draft, you thought was going to go so much higher than he did, and they just didn't get there?
There's a pretty long list of that, but I never take that personal. For me, that's my opinion. It's not what maybe what 32 other teams feel. So I've never felt that way to the point of just beating this drum excessively about one player. So you have a platform where you can wave your flag, and that's what he did this weekend. This has nothing to do with his kind of deal about Shedeur Sanders. This is about him being wrong. We've all been wrong about players. Come on. That's why you're human. You're going to be wrong. And I think he doesn't get the other part of this. The other 32 teams in this league sort of took a look around and had a feeling that they didn't want to get caught in the eye of the tornado here. And there's always going to be that swirl around Shedeur Sanders because of dad, because of name recognition, because of his talents at Colorado. There's always going to be that part of it. Where if you're willing to accept it, hey, like the Browns did, great. But if you weren't, why are you bashing someone else? This isn't your house. It's theirs. And all this stuff about collusion, come on. The NFL is a marketing machine. They don't want nothing negative at any time about any player that's playing in their league. Why would they self-induce a shot like this at this big moment for them? Because this is one of their showcase moments every year, the NFL draft. So Mel made it personal about himself more than he made it about Shedeur Sanders, bottom line. And he's got to accept that. But he didn't want to, so he goes on, a rant about certain things. And I've been knowing Mel over 30 years.
Yeah, so. All weekend. It's one thing to do it once. At one point, the Riddick guy looked at him and was like, Mel, this guy's not good enough, and it's not about you. I mean, it started to get, and that's the other thing about these sports arguments, is that it's hard to keep this stuff from not getting personal, right? Because it's kind of the essence of it. You want to argue and fight for your guy, but sometimes you just got to look at it and go, like it reminds me of one of the old Cajun guys, one of your guys down there at LSU, the night that James Carville took a trash can on CNN and put it right over his head on election night. He was like, well, I was wrong about this. And he took a trash can and put it right over his head. Mel Kiper would be well served to laugh at himself a little bit, I think.
Well, that's part of it. You got to have a sense of humor about all of this. And the NFL, the guy I work with almost every day, Bobby Hebert, always says that the NFL is always about opportunity. Isn't that all you want is an opportunity?
Yep.
Bobby came into this league and, he always tells the story. I was a zero recruit. I was the last scholarship given to Northwestern State. I probably would have been a third, fourth round pick had I not signed with the then USFL. And I come into this league a different way than most people at that point in time. But it was about an opportunity for me. And that's all I wanted. I didn't want anybody to give me anything. I just wanted an opportunity to earn it. And I think with Shedeur, that's what he's got. He's got an opportunity now to make his mark in the NFL. And I'm a big believer in this, Tony. I think certain things, either in our childhood or our early adolescent life, kind of motivates us.
Yep.
And if this don't motivate Shedeur, I don't know what would at this point in time. We always need that chip on the shoulder. I'm going to prove everybody wrong about how they were about me. And the Browns are going to give him that opportunity. Okay, what else do they have? Joe Flacco? Dylan Gabriel? Deshaun Watson, who, I doubt seriously we'll ever see him in the uniform again with the Browns. He couldn't ask for a better spot here.
Amen.
To be honest.
Amen. Yep. And you know what the truth is? Because I was talking with a buddy of mine that played in that league last night. He said, the guys I like are the guys like the Milroe kid from Alabama. So humble over the weekend. He goes, I'm so humbled by the opportunity to get a chance to fulfill a dream versus I can't believe that the league passed me over. And, hey, you can say those things if you're using it to motivate yourself. You can't say those things when you're kind of feeling sorry for yourself. And there's a difference there. Everybody's colluding against me. Tom Brady didn't say that when he went in the 6th round. He said, I'm going to show everybody now that I have an opportunity. And he said, that he would wake up, Mike, he would wake up even like when he was well on his way to the Hall of Fame every day and say to himself, I'm still this 6th round pick that nobody wanted, which is crazy, right? When you think about it.
And Drew Brees, because I have so many conversations with Drew throughout the years, his deal was everywhere I went, Mike, I was too short.
Yep.
They said I didn't have a strong arm. I wasn't a 1st-round pick quarterback. I was a 2nd-round pick guy.
Yep.
I go to the Chargers, and, I got to sit behind a guy who's shorter than me and Doug Flutie. So he was like, everything in life for me, then he tears up his shoulder, and they say, you'll never play again. He said, everything in life for me was a bit of a motivation to prove everybody wrong. And I think one of the things that happened this weekend, not a lot of people are talking about is, have you ever had a 1st-round pick, the 1st overall pick, get overshadowed by a 5th-round pick? Cam Ward, I remember him well. He played Nicholls State University, which is about 15 minutes from my home. On the bayou here, he was a 0 recruit, did not have a star. One of his relatives recognized me as I was standing up on the sidelines, came over, come shake hands, come talk. He said, man, I listen to you all the time. I was, oh, man, super. And we started talking. He said, I want to introduce you to my nephew. And it was Cam Ward. He was a true freshman at Incarnate Word. So he played a couple of years there. And after the 2nd game, I told Coach Tim Rebo, who was then the head coach at Nicholls, you never have to worry about playing this cat again. I mean, he's going somewhere else. He goes to Washington State. He comes to Manning Passing Academy, and he sort of lays it out that, all my life, people told me, well, you're not good enough. That's why you went to Incarnate Word. And why didn't you go to an SEC school? Maybe you weren't good enough. And then he goes to Miami of Florida. He lights it up, and he becomes the 1st overall pick in the draft. And he's overshadowed this weekend by Shedeur Sanders being a 5th-round pick. That's all the talk that was. Very little about Cam Ward other than when he got picked.
In your humble,
it's amazing.
Well, we just saw a circus here, the Nico circus, overshadow everything going on in the sports world here locally. I mean, to the point where it almost swallowed us, and I was losing my sanity in the middle of it. But so let's move along here. And from in your alleged opinion, who had the best draft out there this weekend? Give me your A's.
I'm not a grade giver, but I will say this. I like what the Bears did. They got, you talk about weapons to put around Caleb Williams. You go out and get Colston Loveland at tight end. And I'm a big fan of Luther Burden III.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a guy that can really help you and quickly, especially in the slot. Ozzie Tropilla, God bless him, knew his dad, Steve, who was a starting offensive guard here with the Saints and passed away way too quickly in life. And I think Ozzie will be able to help out that football team up front. And then, Shamir Turner from Texas A&M. Out of all the great athletes, he's probably the least athletic of the bunch. And yet I thought he was maybe the most productive of the A&M defensive linemen when you looked at it as a whole. I like what New England did, too. I just think there's something about what Mike Rabel, I think, has brought to the table here from a standpoint of bringing some grit and some toughness to a team that had sort of lost it. They didn't have all those elements around them, and they pick up, a guy I've seen since probably the 10th grade at West Monroe High School in Will Campbell. And then they end up picking Jared Wilson, a center from Georgia, who I think is a hell of a player. And then also helping surround Drake May with Travion Henderson, the speedster running back from Ohio State, who's also a really good receiver coming out of the backfield, along with Kyle Williams, who's a lengthy speed corner wide receiver from Washington State. And a guy that, if I'd have told you this last year, I wouldn't have believed it myself. I thought was the breakout performer in the SEC last year, Braden Swinson. I could have given you, if somebody would have said, give me 6-7 names of defensive linemen that'll be breakout guys for LSU, Braden Swinson wouldn't have been one of those 6 or 7. He really pieced it together last year, former Oregon transfer. So I like what I've seen from those two teams in being able to kind of piece everything together in certain spots in this rebuilding, and also like what I saw in Seattle. Gray Zabel was a favorite of mine. He's played tackle, but he either plays center or guard for Seattle. And then they get Nick Emenwari, the big safety from South Carolina, who could play a hybrid position, that hybrid big star spot as kind of part linebacker, part safety. Arroyo, the tight end from Miami of Florida, who when he's healthy, man, he is a big play weapon. And then you brought his name up, Jalen Milroe. I do know the offensive coordinator there, and Clint Kubiak. He was here in New Orleans last year, and he had Taysom Hill. And I could see Seattle doing some things with Milroe 8, maybe 10 times a game, similar to what he did with Taysom Hill, in using him, not say the power QB sets, but the speed QB sets. Now, one thing with Milroe he can do very well as a passer, he can throw the deep ball. So you run that kind of power sweep or speed sweep a couple of times, and then you get Milroe, hey, chunk it downfield. You're going to have that safety cheating to try to get up to try to make a play against the run. So I like those three teams in particular. I think they've done really well in upgrading their football team.
All right, before we turn it over to Brian Hartman here. Well, I'm going to turn it over to Brian. Go ahead, because I got a multiple choice question for you, and it involves Matt Dixon's Tennessee Titans. But before we do, let me bring Brian Hartman jump in here.
The Jaguars picked Travis Hunter 2nd overall, and he was believed to be maybe the best player in the draft. Do you see him playing both ways, maybe a little bit of defense, offense? They actually listed him as said he was wide receiver, defensive back. How long can a guy, do you think that might be something that they would consider, or do you think it may not be? Maybe it's better to just focus on being a wide receiver?
I think he'll get his PhD in being a wide receiver. I've always felt that's where he's going to make the quickest and the biggest impact on your football team. but he can get a minor in playing corner in that I can put him in certain nickel packages and use him that way. The NFL is a totally different world than college football. I do see him playing both ways, but he's going to be a full-time receiver and sort of a part-time cover corner, especially as a nickel cover cornerback. He is the top-rated player in my draft class for 2025. He's the unicorn. I've done this 40 years. I can't compare him to anybody that did it at the collegiate level, at that level. Every once in a while, you might have had a defensive back who played a little bit of receiver, but you never had a guy to do it full-time, and Hunter did. But I would have him be a full-time receiver and a part-time nickel cover cornerback, and they paid a high price. But when the owner says, that's who I want, go get him, your job as a general manager is to do that. Either that or you'll be unemployed. That's an owner's pick.
The incomparable Mike Detillier joining, breaking it down scientifically, moving left to right and through your vertical hold across your device. He's been utterly incredible today. Hey, Mike, settle a bet for us. Settle a dispute, okay? You got my Eagles. You've got Bino's Colts. You got Brian's Jacksonville Jaguars and Matt Dixon's Tennessee Titans. Put them side by side. In your humble opinion, did Matt Dixon's Titans, did Brian's Jags, did Bino's Colts, or my Eagles have the best draft of those four franchises?
I'm never going to bet against the Eagles and Howie. I think Howie does as good a job. I've always felt the two teams over the last 5 or 6 years that have done the best in selecting has been the Baltimore Ravens and the Eagles. And it's so funny when you go to an LSU game, I always take a look at the list because they'll have scouts. They don't have their names, but they'll have who they're a scout with. The Eagles always got 2 scouts at an LSU game scouting SEC talent. They have 22 total scouts overall. And I just think, again, when you pick that low in the draft each and every year, and you come up with player after player after player, it to me is amazing what Howie Roseman has done there. And you're going to lose players because of the fact that, it gets to the point where finances, you can't afford to pay everybody. But to come out of that first round with Jahad Campbell, when Howie had a feeling someone else was trying to make that deal with the Chiefs, and all he did was leapfrog one spot. Everybody was, well, he could have maybe got him a pick later. Well, maybe not. Maybe Howie's intel was somebody's looking to move up to 31 to get Campbell. Anybody who watched Campbell last year at Alabama saw a super talented guy. And he came in as an edge rusher at University of Alabama. But Braswell and Dallas Turner were there. He couldn't crack the lineup. So they kick him inside. He really played well. Does have the shoulder injury. But if any team can let that guy heal up, and let's say he's not fully healthy until early in the season, I do know one thing. Vic Fangio knows how to coach linebackers. I've been knowing Vic since he was the coach of the Dome Patrol linebackers with Ricky Jackson, Pat Swilling, Sam Mills, Ron Johnson. And Vic was, Mike, I don't coach them. I just point them in the right direction. They know a lot more about playing linebacker than I do, but I point them in the right direction. The Eagles are going to be right back in the thick of it again. Right back in. And I think they had one whale of a draft.
Mike Detillier, Matt's still wondering, how did his Tennessee Titans, in your humble opinion, how did they do? First year of that regime, you already said Cam Ward, I think, is going to be a hit at the top of it. How did they do?
I like what they did overall. That's a lot of holes on this roster. And I like what they did even before the draft in picking up Tyler Lockett. If you watch Cam play at Miami, they did a lot of wide receiver tight end screens. and it was almost like an extended handoff. It was a little short throw, and what he wanted to do was make sure that that safety wasn't always sitting deep downfield. So to do that, you throw that little short pass, and you get him starting to thinking, well, maybe we might run it, or maybe we might throw that little screen, and then he goes deep on it. I'm a big Cam Ward fan. I think he's a guy that he is their quarterback for the future. Elijah Deo from UCLA, tremendous athlete. You can see his pass rush skills and pass rush potential. It's still not there yet, but he's got a lot of talent. Kevin Winston Jr. was a guy I really liked before the season. Old friend Rich Marty, former Penn State player, and his son Michael now, I think he's head of the NIL deal. Man, we were talking about Winston, and he thought potentially he could have been a first-round pick guy. Then he gets hurt early in the season. He's the intimidator back there. He's the chirper. He knows how to communicate well in the secondary. So I like that pick. Gunnar Helm is a big target tight end. I would have liked to have seen Texas use him more in catching the football. Chamir Dyke, the receiver from Florida, all I know is he averaged almost 19 yards a catch. When they needed something deep, he was the guy. And he's got a knack for getting around corner safeties and getting open downfield. And Alik from the wide receiver from Stanford, he was a very good player on a very bad team. They stunk all across the board, but he didn't stink. He played well. So I like some of the pieces they've been able to put in place here. You understand with the Titans, they're not one or two players away, but you filled the one spot that's the most difficult in the NFL, and that's having a potential standout quarterback. And I think they got that in Cam Ward. Now, the other pieces over the next few years is going to be rebuild or retool your offensive and defensive line.
The great Mike Detillier. College football has turned into a 5-ring circus. You and I know that. I'm watching NFL Network over the weekend, like you're probably monitoring that, or ESPN. When they're showing these highlights, they're showing kids that they say went to this school, but they're showing highlights of them at all these other schools. I mean, that's just it's where we are. You were talking about the kid from LSU in Oregon earlier. Tennessee just had a thing happen, which you've never see happen here, which is a guy gets up in spring football who's your starter. You've invested all this money in him. His family's crazy. They got a circus around him. But everybody tells me this guy's got a golden arm and he's going in the first round next year. What is your read on Nico? I'm going to leave you. In the first round of the 2026 draft, and do you think that's fact or fiction 1 year out?
Right now, I would not put him as a first-round pick quarterback by any stretch of the imagination. His physical skills are there, but it's his inconsistent moments as a passer that drives you up the wall. Because in one series, he throws the football so well, and then in another series, he will miss a couple of wide open throws downfield. Can he go to UCLA and they fix that? I'm going to say probably not. He's always going to have that streakiness in him as a passer. It is part of his game. Last year when you watch Tennessee play or talk to people who played against them, first thing they brought up was, man, their front seven on defense is good. Really, really good. And their running game. And a young man who played, I saw him play in high school here, Dylan Sampson from Dutchtown High School. He broke all of Eddie Lacy's high school rushing marks. That was the strong part of that team. It wasn't the passing of Nico. He has the dreaded P word next to him. Potential. It's not about being productive. It's potential. So if anybody puts him as a first-round pick guy today, they're throwing a dart at it and hoping that he can come around to be that type performer. Again, his inaccuracy skills and his erratic nature are evident. You just got to put the film on and watch. And he's going to need some work with his fundamentals and setting his feet and throwing the ball on balance. That's the one thing I notice when he's off. He's not fundamentally set and throws the ball over the top well. So can UCLA change that? Hey, good luck to him. It is a strange ride for a player that a lot of people felt he had the potential to be a very good player at the SEC level and play in the NFL. But the same people tell you today it's nothing more than potential, because the inconsistent nature with him was there from the start of the season to the end of the season.
Hey, Mike, do they at that level, as we stay on Nico for 1 second here, do they try to peel back what led to his departure here? Is that kind of a nothing burger in the NFL? Is it a red flag? Is it something in between? As Mike Detillier joins on your TLD Logistics Hotline, he's a college and pro football analyst. We talk to him frequently. He blesses us with his time. WWL AM and FM, the big one in Nolens. Also, M&D Draft Report, SaintsReport.com. And Mike's only been at it long enough to drop names from my USFL watching days, which I absolutely love. I mark out every time he's on here. He gets me to mark out here on the air. But Nico and the departure and the crazy family, a nothing burger with the NFL or a red flag? What do you think?
It's a minor deal for them, to be honest with you. Now, you have some old school scouts that still live back in the 70s and 80s that might give him a negative on that. But come on, you got to live in today's world. That's going to happen. Guys leave. It's a commuter world of college football. And some of the same guys that are negative for guys leaving, when they were coaches, they jumped from one school to the next. So it's okay for you to do it. You just don't want the players to do it. Okay, which really gets me today, because I got some old school coaches that are friends of mine, and they constantly complain about it. My thing is, okay, you coached 12 years at 8 different schools. Come on, dude. You're being hypocritical of that. But to answer your question, it's a minor deal. I think they would want to sit down with Nico and say, hey, listen, tell us what happened here. Why'd you leave Tennessee?
Yeah.
This seemed to be a great setup with you. You had a coach that has done a great job with quarterbacks. Why did you want to leave there to go to a lot of questionable spots? This isn't the UCLA of my childhood.
No.
Okay?
No.
This isn't the UCLA of even Terry Donahue. A little past that.
Exactly.
So why did you want to go there? Or was it maybe one of the few options you had at this stage? So I think it's a minor thing for Nico and for the NFL, just because you're so used to it today to see guys kind of hop around. I think of Tyler Shuck, who the Saints picked in round 2. He comes to Manning Passing Academy, and he tells me the story. He's from Arizona. He signs with Oregon. He said, I get on campus, and I see this big, tall guy, and I thought he played tight end, and it's Justin Herbert. Okay, he's ahead of me. I ain't beating him out. And then the COVID year hits when he gets an opportunity, and so he decides to leave. He goes to Texas Tech. He suffers a broken femur and a broken collarbone. Doesn't really get the chance he thought he would get there. He goes to Louisville and has a super year last year for the Cardinals. So he's went to 3 schools. That I'm not saying is going to be the norm, but for quarterbacks, they're going to have multiple schools that they're going to have played in. And so to me, that to me is a minor thing for Nico. My thing is, it's all going to be about his development as a passer. That to me is the biggest thing on the agenda for him. Not that he jumped from Tennessee to UCLA.
On the way out, tell the living listener how they can find you, where they can find you, and I love you. You're my man, dude. Hey, listen, your voice is so cool on my TLD Logistics hotline that I almost need a new unit after you get off because you about melt the damn thing. That's part one. Part two, you could read anything to me. War and Peace, my friend. Start at that first page, read it to the last, and I would pay attention to every word that comes out of your mouth.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Tony. No, they can follow me on WWL.com, SaintsReport.com, on X at Mike Detillier. And so, and man, I do a ton of shows, so you can follow me somewhere on the social media world if you don't get to catch me on WWL, which I'm on nightly, the Big 870 AM, FM, and .com in New Orleans.
You're the man, dude. And when you and Bobby get going and get at each other and have fun with each other, two old friends, that's what this medium's all about, my man. And you guys bring it home.
Well, thank you, Tony. I appreciate it. We have a good time with it. We not Huntley and Brinkley.
Yeah, and you're not going to sit there and pout when one of your guys doesn't go in the first round. Come on now.
No, I've been doing this way too long. I got bigger fish to fry than that.
Thank you, my man. Love you.
Thank you, Tony.
Appreciate you. Bino, anything out of that piece with him that you found interesting, and then we'll get some calls in.
Just about all of it, Tony, as I always do.
Yep.
I love listening to Mike Detillier on here. There are times here where I think I'm just better off to stay out of the way. And it always seems to be when you got a mic on. Mike Keith, Mike Detillier, Small Mike, those guys.
Small.
Guests appear on the TLD Logistics Hotline. Online at tldlogistics.com.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Peace of mind is priceless, especially when it comes to your home safety and your family's comfort. That's why the pros at Pipe Wrench Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling created the Peace of Mind Maintenance Plan. Preventative maintenance for HVAC and plumbing is like changing your vehicle's oil, and experts recommend scheduling regular system checks to keep everything running smoothly. With Peace of Mind, you can safeguard your home from unexpected costly breakdowns and repairs. You'll get tons of benefits, including full system checks on HVAC and plumbing systems, water heater flushes, sewer camera inspection, 10% automatic discount on repairs, priority bookings, no service fees, and much more. Monthly service plans are as low as $20.25 per month, and total annual services are valued at over $1,500. Call Pipe Wrench at 865-264-8090 or book online at pipewrench.com to sign up or schedule your appointment today. And as always, same-day service guaranteed or the visit is free.
Life never stops moving. And between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up. A tire designed for doers. A tire that's going to last. Like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire. Basilio here for Budget Transmissions. TGMD, the great Matt Dixon, took his Ford Escape to budget, and like our Gold Bullet back in the day, it was a total mess. And now, Matt's back in the game. He's got a new transmission, axle, wheel bearing, both radiator hoses, engine mounts, coolant hoses. I mean, his Ford Escape was about to escape to the junkyard, but he didn't begrudge it. He took it to budget, and now he's on his way back to Omaha. Budget Transmissions, over 30 years in business. conveniently located in Bearden. All extended service contracts are honored. A gold certified Repair Pal member. 865-584-4391. 865-584-4391. Budget Transmissions. Don't begrudge it. Take it. So budget.
Hi there, Basilio crew. Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. If you're thinking about selling your home, I've got good news for you. The East Tennessee and Knoxville areas are projected to have another strong year. I'll be happy to talk with you about the latest and greatest info you need. So give me a call at 865-694-5904 or contact me at nextmovesmokymountains.com. Hope to hear from you soon, and go Vols.
Tony B here with the great Zakai Ziegler for
Hey,
Advent.
whoa. Tony, I got this. Hey, Tennessee, it's Easy here. Next time you have an electric issue at your home or business, call my friends at Advent Electric. With offices in Knoxville and Nashville, it's Mama's Easy approved.
You heard it from the most electrifying player in the league. Call the service professionals at Advent Electric, 865-588-0631. Online, adventelectric.com. Tell them ZZ sent you. Detillier here, and you know my friends at Carnes Motor Company started with a dream over a quarter century ago. I met Rob and Brian back when I still had hair, and they were working at a huge dealership in West Knoxville. But they told me back then they wanted to sell cars on their terms, and I wanted to do radio on my terms. Their terms, just like my terms, are ultimately your terms. In both cases, you're the winner. A Car Guru's National Award winner with a 5-star rating on all sites, just like our Vols. Everything about buying a car from Carnes Motor Company is no hassle. They specialize in high-quality pre-owned vehicles between the $5,000 to $25,000 range. And if you need to sell a car, they'll either buy your car or they'll help you sell it. Carnes Motor Company also has a top-notch service department. Therefore, every vehicle is rigorously inspected and serviced prior to delivery. So you're guaranteed to get a quality pre-owned vehicle every time. If you need a place for service, they've got you covered. Come be a part of the Carnes Motor Company family and tell them you heard about it from me. Online at carnesmotor.com. Oak Ridge Highway, 1 mile past the Carnes light. Carnes Motor Company.
Ward Dumpsters, your local and veteran-owned dumpster rental company, has 12 and 15-yard dumpsters for week-long and weekend specials. Spring cleaning, remodeling, or yard cleanup, reach out to Ward Dumpsters today at warddumpsters.com.
Portions of your TV show presented by Stinnett Collision, Maryville, and now in Sevierville. For 3 generations and 60 years, serving you online at StinnettCollision.com.
It's always magnificent. Mondays on the Basilio Show, presented by our friends at Fleet Tire. I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. And now, back to B.
And B is me. And this thing is so interesting. You've got to embrace change. And just when you think you have the answers, it changes the questions. This era of sport we're living through. And, you know, I kind of buried the lead here in these parts with Mike Detillier, who was nice enough to join us on your TLD Logistics hotline. And we will be doing a TLD Logistics Overdrive overtime. But I thought it was real interesting about Nico Bino, where his assessment of him is he's nowhere near being a first-round pick right now, which is my assessment of him. But the fact of the matter is that all this stuff is so, you just have to be so willing to accept change to watch this era that we're living through. As Tennessee basketball is now involved with an international player, Bino, a guy from Monaco. So that's a lot of fun, I believe, from Monaco at any stretch. So the whole thing's just really, I don't know. The whole thing's fascinating and frustrating at the same time.
Now, Tony, what happened with the kid the Adams kid that decommitted from UConn?
So the reason that kid decommitted from he's a 5-star player. The reason he decommitted from UConn is he thought they acquired somebody that was going to take his place, starting spot. He asked Tennessee in a Zoom call can you guarantee me a starting spot? And they said no. Tennessee could have gotten him for like $1.2 million. They could have gotten him. He was highly interested because, the Lanier spot / Dalton Connect spot is still open, and it's prime time spot in college hoops. The Rice kid flew the coop for money. It was that simple, $3.2 million. Freeman, another wing option, left him because they wouldn't guarantee him a starting spot, and Auburn sort of played on that, and Auburn swooped in there and got him, paid him a lot more money and got him. This one here came down to they could have had this Adams guy if Barnes would have guaranteed him a starting spot. And Bino, you and Bri, I ask you guys, we've watched these sports a long time. Would you have lied to the kid and guaranteed him a spot to get him on your roster, or would you have told him the truth? How would you guys have handled it? And then we'll go to the phones.
I think you have to almost always tell them what your basic principles are, and you've got to be truthful, because if you're not, that can also, and I don't think Barnes would ever do that, that can also be something that would backfire in the future.
How about you, Bean? Where do you fall on that? All you do is tell the kid, promise him to start, and then if he starts, he starts. If he doesn't. What do you think, Bean? You're muted. King Bino, que pasa? Let's go back to our phones. I think I've lost Bino. Hello and welcome in on your TLD Logistics phone line.
Sorry, Tone, I was muted.
Yeah, go ahead, Bino. Talk to me.
I would have handled it exactly the way Barnes handled it.
Yeah, I respect
Tell him the truth, and if that's okay with him, that's good, and if it's not, that's good.
Barnes is like, he's like an OG, right, in life. Like OGs, when they're sitting at the table, they'll say things other people won't because they don't care. It's like, I've lived long enough, I'm an OG. And he's an OG recruiting. That's his approach. It's like, look, I'm an OG, you're not. You're 18, you're coming out of high school, I get it. You're the greatest player to ever live. You're a 5-star player. I'm not going to lie to you. So if you want to come in here and you want to earn a starting spot, you come in here and earn a starting spot. If you're wanting me to promise that you're going to be a starter from day one, I don't promise that to anybody. So I bet you they didn't even promise that to Nate Ament, quite frankly, knowing Rick Barnes. Hello and welcome into the and the way Rick Barnes operates. Hello and welcome in. You're on the Monday edition.
Hey, Tony, Madison in Texas.
Hey, Madison. Great to hear your voice.
Hey, man. Good to talk to you guys. I wanted to comment on, I think it was the guy's name is Danny that called earlier.
Yeah, Danny Boy. Great caller. I love Danny Boy.
Yeah. Well, I thought he had some good points. I'm going to disagree with him a little bit. With Heupel, I think we kind of got to call a spade a spade. Is he a great, coach when he's got his set players and getting the most out of them? Yes, I think he's great at that. But in this new world, it's about sales and delivery. It's not just about delivery. You got to focus on sales too. So I got 2 points on this. My first point is, I think we're spending money commensurate to maybe middle of the league, maybe kind of second quartile here in the league, and that's fine. But when we see what's going on with baseball and with basketball, there's probably a little bit more money to go around. So if we're okay with the ceiling of 10-2 and getting decapitated by Ohio State on the road in the college football playoff, and we're fine with that being our ceiling, okay, maybe you get to the second, third round, something like that, but you're always going to run into a team like Ohio State that's paying more money than you are. And at some point, you got to go to the higher ups and say, hey guys, I need a little bit of help. And as somebody who's, been in sales for several years, I've been doing this a while. It's 2 things, Tony. It's number 1, I got to be farming. I got to be calling on guys on other rosters through whatever proper channels, trying to see who's interested, building my list. We know that Barnes, we know that Vitello are doing that. You got to be doing that. Number 2 is, every year my boss gives me a quota, and sometimes the quota is too high, and I got to work it. I got to work him a little bit on that. Hey, boss, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to that number this year. We're kind of selling a sad story a little bit. We're not creating any perceptions that aren't true, but we're trying to get a little bit more resources, maybe get a lower quota so we can really go out there and we can really perform this year. I mean, that's, I think, what it comes down to is, I'd hire Josh to be my delivery guy every day of the week, but as far as sales, he's got to get a GM in there and he's got to get some help, somebody that's got his mind on the portal. Because, look at this, guys. Could we use Squirrel White? I know he was hurt last year. Gosh, it'd be great to have him on this roster. The all SEC freshman linebacker that went to Mississippi State, he was a great player, all SEC freshman. You know, you can't have that guy go to Mississippi State. Jason Jenkins, great game against Oklahoma. You know, maybe he's an NFL player. You can't have him going out the door to Florida State either. You know, those three guys are who I look at, and there's a bunch of other receivers we would have been nice to have. But these are NFL players, Tony, and we can't have them walking off our roster and not having a replacement for them. And I think we saw that with Nico too. So I love Heupel. I'm not saying I'm out on him. You know, I'm holding. I'm not buying. I'm not selling. I just think the guy needs a little bit of help. And there's resources out there. He's just got to ask for the order, as you said, Tony. So couldn't agree more.
Thank you, brother. And listen, I don't, and I'm going to get Bino's thoughts on this. People have a misconception. You're getting negative. I'm not negative on anybody. I get, do what I do. I look at myself as an umpire. That ball comes across the plate. I either determine is that a strike or a ball. And on the portal recruiting, I just didn't sense urgency there. I talk to people. I'm sorry, I just didn't sense urgency, and I don't understand it. But maybe, like Bino said, maybe this guy knows Matt Dixon is just like I am. I want to see Heupel make it, but I agree with Matt. They need to get this guy some help. Because this era he's in is not the era he was hired to be in. And he's already proven, if you get him the ingredients, he can make a good meal. Bino, how do you respond to that caller who's an excellent caller out of Texas who's recently found the show?
He's outstanding, Tony. I think the first time I heard him was when I was hosting when you were out of town, but I enjoy his calls. You know, Tony, all of it is, and I don't disagree that in this new era, I think you kind of need like a director of player personnel.
Yeah.
Maybe they have that, and I just don't know. But I don't think that most of your old, and, you know, Heupel's relatively new coach, but this is brand new for everyone.
Yes.
I don't think guys that grew up in the older system are necessarily equipped for this annual free agency that we see. So I don't disagree at all. And I don't you know, we're going to look back on the Heupel era whenever it finishes, and how they evaluate and construct and develop their roster is what's going to determine his success or lack thereof here long term. The only thing that I've bristled about it all is questioning the effort out there. The reason I say that is because we may not have used he may not use the portal to the level that you need to today, but it's not like he hasn't helped prior rosters.
That's what was weird about it. That's what drove me crazy. That's right. And I give credit for that.
Like you said, he helped the secondary last year.
Yes.
We've helped our receiving core down through the year with both Velas and Brew.
Yes.
You know, that we went out and got. So I don't think that it's a lack of effort. Maybe it's a misevaluation, if it turns out that way. Maybe it's a misevaluation this year, or maybe they just struck out in areas where they were trying to get help.
My thing is, because look, if you're going to criticize what happened this previous offseason, which I will, you have to also say, hey, like Bino said, you went out in the portal, and this is the thing I couldn't understand about this last year about sitting there, is that, and sitting still, is that the previous winter, they found a great player from Oregon State. Not a player, not an okay, like the kid from Temple. That's an okay player. That's all right. That's good. The kid they found from Middle Tennessee State, nice player. The guy from Oregon State, a great football player. Like, we're talking about a home run out of the transfer portal. A guy that without him, you're not in the playoffs. And I would have thought on the heels of that, hey, let me put my arm around, or my arms around this receiving core where 7 guys went out the door, and let's go get from one of those lower leagues, however you want to put it, group of 5, let's go get a couple of these wide receivers we know can make plays. Hey, this guy from San Jose State, who they struck out with in the spring, would have been really nice to get involved with him in the winter. But in order to do those sorts of things, you got to have within your apparatus people that you trust, because you can't do it all. And I think about Rick Barnes. I know for a fact that Rick Barnes defers to a couple people within his organization who give him a list, and this is your shopping list, and let's look at film on these people. And granted, I know with basketball, you're talking about a lot less people. I know it's apples to oranges. I understand that. I'm not calling Josh Heupel lazy. I am saying there was a lack of urgency in that portal. I'm just saying that. I'm sorry. If that sounds like I'm calling him lazy, I'm not calling him lazy. But it was weird. Just like this spring has been weird. Just like a lot of things about the pro, because Josh Heupel's won 10 games twice, and we did a show at 4 years, and we did a show several weeks back. If he were a stock, would you buy, sell, or hold? And a lot of people said hold. A lot of people said hold. Not buy, not sell. Most people should be saying buy when you've won 10 games twice. You should say, I'll buy that all day long. Most people said, I want to see what happens in the next couple years. That's curious. That's a curious answer to that. And if we're honest, and I'm honest, I'm mildly concerned. And I don't know that I should be. Because I just looked at the draft and we were making the point, and we were talking about Chris Lowe's work over on Twitter X this weekend, where, Tennessee is, what was the number, guys? 5th in rounds 1 through 3 in the last 4 years. But man, they've been among the most successful teams in the league. But they're 5th in that. I mean, they jumped some teams this year to get into the playoffs that have had more players than them taken in this year's draft even. I mean, like the Ole Misses of the world. So this guy has proven, he has absolutely proven that he can do it. But I'm a little concerned. I'm not calling him lazy. If you don't put that word in my mouth. I did not say that. Urgency is the term I used. Urgency. Fire is a term I'll use. Not being lazy. That's not lazy.
Well, just don't use sleepy anymore, Tony, because sleepy implies lazy.
Oh, I think they slept in the portal, though. I do. But it might be because
Tony, is there any way that they looked at Thornton's success in year 2 and thought they would get the same thing from Brazel this year? A jump?
Bino, I'll address that as the radio show is over. No is the answer to that, but I'll address why. Because it's TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime to the radio listener. I love you.
WJBE 1040 AM, 99.7 FM.
Translator W259AP.
Powell, Knoxville.
It's TLD Logistics. Oh.
It's TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime, presented by TLD Logistics. Online at tldlogistics.com.
And to the great Jim Peters and the great Kevin Herman and your crew.
And now let's go to the guys with today's edition of TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime.
Including my boy McConkey, etc. I look forward to seeing you boys Friday night when we're playing music at Avalon. Shining like the sun in the middle of the day here on TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime. I'd encourage you to come out. The Ramblers were smoking hot. We turned the ballroom, the main ballroom, over the weekend at Holston Hills. We lit that place on fire. On fire. The band was on fire. It was unbelievable, Andy. But we're going to go back to our phones. Bino, the thing about when you talk to people around Tennessee's program is the Brazel guy's still not working at it. I would doubt very seriously that they would hitch your wagon to a guy improving without great work habits. And I've always just tried to tell you down through the years in basketball, this is what I'm hearing. This guy's not going to play. This guy's not going to make it. If that Brazel guy makes it this year, Bino, it's not going to be because he's worked at it. Okay? So the short answer to that is no. I don't think they think, unless they're magical thinking, and maybe they are, that they're going to get it out of him Because to this point, Bino, he has not shown himself to be somebody who goes to work and works at it. He's a really talented guy, though. There's no doubt he's a talented guy. I mean, the stuff he did
he made the biggest catch of the entire season.
Hell of a play. No doubt about it. Hell of a play. In fact, he might get paid off that play. You know? Just like Nico might get paid off that play. Because at this level, if you do those sorts of things and you put a few things on film, and the thing about the Nico and the NFL conversation, guys, that needs to be said here is it only takes one organization to fall in love with you. I will readily admit that. That's the thing about, arguing one way or the other about the draft. It only takes one organization to fall in love with you. But go ahead, Bri.
James Pierce is going to get paid off the pick 6 against Iowa. And I think that's what could have kept him in the first round, that play alone.
James Pierce has incredible measurables. But it was complicated with James Pierce.
Because there's so much things you can do with him. He showed that on that play. There's so many things you can do with him on a football field defensively.
I was talking to somebody about this previously finished draft. Do you guys ever remember a draft so void of just star players? Did that jump out at you guys? Like, where are the stars? Has anybody ever thought about that? Because a friend of mine that's deep into the NFL, he was like, man, what's happened to the college football and star players? Is that a good point, bad point? Would you all have a take on that?
I think a lot of them were just lower draft picks than most people thought they were or thought they'd be.
Weird draft. I agreed with it. I thought weird draft. Weird draft. One other thing, and then we'll go back to our
It seemed
phones.
like every other pick was a defensive lineman.
Exactly. Like, where are the skill stars? And the high-end star quarterback types. Like, we knew this draft was pretty void of those guys, but the wideouts, the corners. Detillier said the guy Brian got is a unicorn. I agree with that. I think it's a nice play by the Jags to do that. Look, I got a quarterback that's getting long in the tooth here. He's getting ready to get into Bustville. He's taking a beating. I know they need offensive line. Okay, fine. But he also needs playmakers around him. And I got a guy, if I use him on defense, and he's primarily a defender, which we don't even know what they're going to do with this kid yet. That's how much of a unicorn he is. But I could line him up in the slot, pitch a ball to him, and let him cook, as they say in the NBA. It's just it's interesting and notable that this did not feel like. I mean, when the most interesting thing that happens in your draft is Deion Sanders' son sliding to round 5. Was it round 5, guys, where he went?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Back to the phones we go. I know this much. And Bino, we had a listener listening to the show earlier, and I meant to get this in when she sent it to our text line, but Valerie's listening, and she wants to know what you think. She texted us off the chat widget on the phone, off our app. What does Bino think of the Colts pick? She said, I love the Tyler Warren pick. Valerie listening to us in Indianapolis. What do you think, Bino?
Yeah, I was absolutely stunned he was still available. I thought they were going to get the kid from Michigan, the tight end from Michigan, but I am ecstatic about Ty Warren. He can just do so many things. They needed a playmaker like him desperately, someone that can give them some variation to their offense, and he's perfect. I thought the Colts draft was good, really good. They probably could have used another interior lineman, but other than that, I thought they were very good. Of course, their season will come down once again. Can they find competent quarterback play?
I think you and Brian's team both had intriguing and interesting first-round picks there because those are two really interesting football players with I think really high ceilings.
Warren could be a 10-year pro.
No question.
And he's Dallas Clark on steroids. I really like that pick, Bino. And this is from somebody in your division.
Bean, the thought I had, and I guess maybe I said it Friday, maybe we didn't, but you'd have given a playmaker like him to Peyton Manning, and that kid stays healthy, that kid would be a multi-year all-pro player. Because that Warren guy is a freak. He's a freak show player. Just a freak.
Yeah, really, really happy to have gotten him.
Shout out Valerie for using the text line.
Yeah, thank you, Valerie. Appreciate it.
Great question. Let's go back to the phones. 865-200-5402 is my number. All lines are jammed. Shout out Will Heflin, who did a great job yesterday. Not gonna lie to you, came in here with my friends at VIP Plays, a little mopey. He did not like the way that game ended. Hey, there's a lot of pride in the Tennessee baseball program. A guy called yesterday and told Will, he said, I just started watching it, and I'm sort of a Johnny-come-lately, and I was proud of Will. This makes me think that I like Will Heflin's my kind of people. He said, look, I don't care if you started watching it 5 minutes ago, 5 years ago, or 50 years ago. We're all in this thing together. And I thought, you know what? From the mouth of that young man comes some wisdom.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I thought to myself. I asked Laura, I said, did you hear that young guy say? She said, yeah. She said, that's... And another thing he said was the show was unfolding yesterday. He said, you people are making me feel better today. I'm telling you, this guy was lower than a snail's belly because he thought, I'm going to come in here and I'm be fending people off from just the overreaction to this weekend. And most people were saying this team was good enough to go into a team that's in the top 5 in the game, in their building, and should have won 2 out of 3 games. That was the takeaway from most people. Sunday's game, and look, I don't hide from this. To me, Friday night, you got to have a defensive substitution in there late, Bri. Can we say that out loud? And I love Tony Valls. He's my guy. Tony, are you second-guessing him? No, I'm not second-guessing him. Because if he had a chance to do it over again, and he knew the result, the balls are going to be hit that way, I think he would have gotten a defensive substitution in there. Because Tony's a guy that will be wrong, but he won't stay wrong. That's one of my favorite things. He's not doing the Yankee closer deal. He didn't put that kid back out there at third base the next 2 games, did he? No, he did not. And we're not blaming that kid for the loss, but those 2 plays, man, you got to make those plays. You've got to make those plays. But
Tony, I want to say something real quick about Curley. And Brian is right. He has looked much more comfortable playing middle infield than corner infield for Tennessee. But I feel badly for Curley right now because I really believe that what's going on with him is he comes into this year as a 21-year-old, as a draftable 21-year-old. He's projected to be Tennessee's highest draft prospect. And I think he's spent this entire season trying to play up to those expectations rather than just playing. And it's showing he's just pressing, and it's showing in both phases of the game, more so in the field than at the plate, but it's at the plate as well now.
You know what's interesting?
It's a tough spot, and it's easy to do, and it's hard to get out of.
Reminds me of Jordan Beck in his money year, Bino.
Yeah.
Jordan Beck in his money year got so, I think, sidetracked by the expectations. What about the weekend that kid had? Are you freaking kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Have you seen the Rockies' record?
Oh, Brian. When I saw the Rockies in the first series of the weekend, I called the guy we call Mr. C, and I said, I think I just saw one of the worst baseball teams ever constructed in Major League Baseball. That is a Bino, have you seen the Rockies at all? That's a brutal baseball team. I'm talking Todd Helton's not walking back through that door anytime soon, but good for Beck.
Yeah. They're not good. They're not good. From a Yankees standpoint, Tony, I actually believe that Boone was more proactive than most are. Devin obviously wasn't himself for the first month of the season, but there are a lot of places that would have kept running him out there.
Yep.
I think he'll eventually regain the Yankees closer spot.
Yeah.
But I thought I didn't think the timing was terrible there as far as when to make the move.
And on the Curley thing, a buddy of mine called me all like emotional because he was up in the middle of the night and said, you know, your boy. He was calling him my boy. I said, listen. I said, I feel sorry for that kid.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to do that. At the same time, you can say that's unacceptable third base play at this level. You can say that. I mean, I think both things are true.
Yeah.
And it must suck to know that you're the guy in that locker room after the game and everybody's looking at you and going, man, the unspoken in this room, the unspoken in this room is the unspoken. The thing baseball players know, though, is between now and the end of the year, somebody closing a game is going to give up a 3-run homer to lose a game. Between now and the end of the year, somebody else is going to commit a terrible error, or somebody on another team in the SEC is going to boot a couple of balls where you win a game you're not supposed to. You know, watching my son play golf all these years, you have holes where, and these guys all know this in these sports, you have holes where you hit an incredible approach shot, you're on a par 5 and 2, and you somehow par the hole. And then you have a ball you scald off your iron into the woods, okay? And it somehow kicks off a stump and rolls up 8 feet shy of the cup somehow, and you magically go up there and knock it in for a birdie. And at the end of the day, what counts is what counts, which is what I think's crazy about both of those sports. I think that's why a lot of these baseball guys love playing golf. And a lot of these golf guys probably came out of that baseball world. It's like you have to have a similar mentality to play those two sports. And let me say this. Over the weekend, that Saturday night, I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't get to sleep till, and I'm having a second-day rebound from it. I didn't get, it was Friday night, right, guys? It was Friday night. It was Friday
Yes. Night. It was Saturday morning.
I didn't get to, me and Matt were texting each other, going back and forth, because we were the only ones up. Berkey was working a series. Other guys were asleep, whatever. And Matt's a sicko. I knew Matt would be up. I could not get back to sleep. I can't imagine how that kid felt. And I want you guys and gals to think about this, the way we go at these people on social media. If that did that to me, what did it do to him? Because Bino's right. These guys he's wearing the pressure. Wearing it. Matt said something yesterday, Bino, I want to pick your brains on, then we go back to the phones. He and Will are developing a chemistry with each other that I appreciate. Matt asked Will a question about how much Frank Anderson manages the pitching, because they were talking about this week's opponent. And Will be in here tomorrow. I'm going to get these guys to really go into this tomorrow. Will said the head coach at Auburn lets his pitchers and his catchers call the game. And he goes, it's kind of refreshing. He said, when I was really, really on and in the groove, me and Frank were thinking exactly alike. He said there'd be times where I would grip grip a change. And sure enough, that signal would be put down from Pavoloni, and it was a change. And sometimes, because Matt made this point, sometimes I wonder if, in all these sports, if we're way too helicoptery with the way we're coaching them. Matt was talking about how there was an era at one time when we were in school, Bino, where you would give the quarterback a lot more latitude to kind of call his plays. And the quarterback play was better then than it is now. And these days, everybody's in your headset at every level. And the amount of freedom that you're given is minuscule compared to what it used to be. Do you think there's any merit to what Matt is saying as to why we've seen a slip in quarterback play, Bino? He said because now these guys all look to the sidelines in college. Now you don't even get to go out and kind of survey the field and go through your progressions the way you once did. What do you think?
Yeah, that's interesting, Tony. I haven't thought about it along those lines, but yeah, that's really interesting. I would say that there's probably more micromanagement coaching today than in past eras. I don't know if that has diminished development of quarterbacks or not, but it's an interesting point.
Before we go back to the phones, my friends at VIP Play want to say that they're getting ready to launch, and it is absolutely coming soon. And the Eagle is about to land. And the VIP Play experience will be different than anything you've experienced in the gambling space. Also, the VIP guarantee will differentiate using this app and other sports books you've used. So both the VIP Play experience and the VIP guarantee, you will have to experience the difference when it launches. It's not available for download yet. We're talking about 200-plus leagues to wager on. We're talking about all your favorite types of bets. Look, you've heard the term live now. How about live always on VIP Play? Live always. Live now will be in the past. Live always will be a way of life. And then the VIP Players Club sweepstakes. Every bet you make at VIP Play, entries into their monthly sweepstakes that they're going to do. And every dollar you bet, every time you place a bet, when you do parlays on that app, 10 times the entries on parlays and same-game parlays. Bet Assured will be a thing in the state of Tennessee with the VIP guarantee. Gambling problem, 800-889-9789, 21 and over in the state to place a bet. I go back to the phones. But VIP Play is dropping soon as we go back to the phones. The joystick coaching that goes on at a lot of these levels, you wonder with a quarterback play if the joystick coaching has impacted quarterback's development. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air. Hi.
Hey, Tony, Bino, Brian, it's Taylor.
Hey, T. Welcome in, buddy.
Love that comment, but here's the challenge. Is your $3 million offensive coordinator or your $8 million head coach going to be more invested in absolutely burning the midnight oil, studying the defenses, knowing all the nuances the defense?
That's right.
Or are you going to trust that to some 20-year-old snot-nosed quarterback who's been spoon-fed his plays since he was in JV football?
No, that's right. And that's what Will Heflin, which is what I loved about the discussion, he said it into the microphone. He said it's on some level as a former pitcher, I would like the latitude and the freedom to be more involved in calling a game. Yet at the same time, I must admit that somebody that's highly paid, that spends all that time poring over the film, I have to trust them. So it is an interesting discussion, though, that Matt brings. It's an interesting thing that Matt brings up.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. But these quarterbacks and pitchers, frankly, have been spoon-fed. They haven't called their own game since travel ball, prior to travel ball, right?
Yeah,
or prior
you're
to
right.
JV. So it's not going to change. Here's the other thing. How you only have a handful of students of the game. Peyton Manning and that level of intelligence and that level of study and know offenses and defenses and, coaches on the field, those are few. Those are generational. And the Greg Maddoxes of the world, they're just generational. But here's the other thing. I'd hate to ever shake off Frank Anderson, but I know he gives that leeway. And he's always said, I would rather you throw your pitch with conviction than my pitch that I called without confidence and without conviction. So that guy's a wizard, Frank Anderson. We've got the best pitching coach. I've got some orange-colored glasses, but I'm going to take them off. I would say we've got the best pitching coach, bar none. Major League scouts say that, Tony, in all of NCAA baseball. Anyway, but Tony, I want to go to what you were saying about Dean Curley. He's going to remember Friday night and Saturday morning for the rest of his life. He's going to have bad dreams about that. No one on this planet feels worse about that, I'll promise you, than Dean Curley. He doesn't need jackasses on social media sending him death threats, which, by the way, he's received. He doesn't need fans yelling at him, booing him, making stupid comments. I sure as heck hope, Tony, when he comes back to Lindsey Nelson Stadium Tuesday, and more importantly, this weekend when Auburn comes into town, I hope the fans are gracious, giving him a thunderous ovation. He deserves it. He's the dean for a different reason. The kid was a freshman, true freshman, shortstop on the national championship team and played for Team USA. He'll get his confidence back, Tony. He's just, it's mental right now, right? He's doing double crow hops. He's doing double pumps. And when it gets in your head, that ball will find you. And unfortunately it did Friday night. And like you, I was up till the 4 a.m. like a lot of Vol fans, couldn't go to sleep. But I feel horrible for that kid. He needs our support, not our. We don't need to be casting stones at that kid. We need to be lifting him up. He deserves it, my friend.
Hey, Taylor, because I'm building my Tuesday blog right now. The QB deal's one of them. The second thing Matt Dixon brought up yesterday, and again, they got into a really interesting discussion at the end of their Garza-Law extra innings.
You don't throw at Bear. You don't do that, Tony. Not in NCAA baseball. You let that go.
I'm not asking you. Hang on. I'm not asking you about that. Matt said the other thing that he thinks is really interesting is Danny White's decision to money grab in the stadium, which Danny White has money grabbed. All these people money grabbed.
It's killed. The students in right field has killed.
He said it's killed the atmosphere. He said it's killed the environment, and they need to admit it and do something about it because they've horned the kids into the. If you haven't been into the stadium, they've horned the kids into right field, where they literally look like they're in a refugee camp and they're getting ready to launch them onto a helipad and fly them out of some area. That's what it looks like.
Tony,
that's the amenities they've given the students.
They're in a big lots.
A pen. They're in like a pen. Yeah.
In right field, no seats, no cup holders, no drink stands. They went on the cheap. I've heard, Tony, that was because the debacle that's going on with the construction, that they just did that quick and cheap. I've heard rumors they're going to fix it and put in seats and make it, better next year. But regardless, they put them so far out in right field. I don't care if you had Lindsey's legends back. I don't know that you would hear them. And I don't care what other people say. Oh, every stadium has their students out in the outfield. They could have made a little compromise and not moved them as far out as they did, and certainly given them better accommodations. They don't need to be standing for a 4-hour game. And if you wonder why the student section leaves, that's probably a good reason, Tony, is you're expecting them to stand up for 4 hours out in right field. Anyway, but one last thing, Tony. This is a very inexperienced team. If you look at the team up and down, even though we have a junior at first base, a junior at second base, these guys have been with the team for 1 year, right? So they're juniors, but they've been playing in Knoxville for not even 1 year yet. So that team chemistry, that leadership, I think, is lacking. And we got studs. I love how Tony uses the portal. He doesn't overdo it. He does it right. He supplements. But the reality is, it's hard to have a guy that comes in from Ole Miss and tell him, you're here for 1 year, you're a stud, you got to take this team on your back and be a vocal leader. It's just, and the same, the kid from Louisville, the same thing. It's just hard to do that. And I think that's one of the challenges is the team chemistry, figuring out who's going to be the vocal leader. And, as Will said, it could be somebody every weekend, somebody different every weekend or every game. But I still think we need to have that core nucleus of folks that are going to, grab people when they're needed, shake them loose and say, look, that's not how we play ball here. You're going to, we're going to do this. We're going to show energy. But here's the other thing, Tony, you're not going to change personalities. You have folks that are servant leaders that they let their leadership by how they play. They're not vocal. That's fine. But you also need some guys like the Blake Burks and the Simos of the world that are going to get people's attention. But Tony, end of the day, let's support this team. I think we can take 2 out of 3 from Auburn, get back on track. We've got the best coaching staff in the nation. We've got a lot of talent. But the end of the day, Tony, youngest team in the SEC if you look at the roster. And then if you look at the starters, we still have a lot of freshmen. We have a lot of one-year players, Tony. We lost a lot from last year's team.
Second youngest, right? Second youngest to Florida. Thank you. Second youngest to Florida is actually the figure. Let's go back to the phones. Hello and welcome in. So we're going to discuss both of those tomorrow with Matt. The atmosphere in Lindsey Nelson. Come ready for that. And then I want to get Will and Matt to talk about this whole. Because I just texted a buddy of mine and said, how much Major League pitching coaches are they involved pitch to pitch? And the answer I got in that at that level is very little. Very little. Catchers call games. Back to the phones we go, and I'm not advocating for that. I'm just saying, I wonder just how much it's inhibited the growth of quarterbacks. And I really feel for the Nico guy because the father horning over a coach who's horning over you, with handlers horning over these people now, none of it can be healthy for these quarterbacks and developing players. Just a thought. Bino, you wanted to add, and then we go back to the phones.
No, I'm good, Tony. I'm good. Let's
All
go
right, thank
phones.
you. Let's go to the phones. Hi, welcome in. You're on the air.
Aledia's Jeff.
My bad.
Hello and welcome in. Let's get our next call in.
Hey, what's up, Tony? Josh, you boy.
Hey, Wingzo.
I agree with what you and Bronny said. Bino, you guys got a really, really good draft pick in Tyler Warren. I'm surprised he was still there when you guys picked at 14. And I thought you guys were going to take that Michigan tight end.
Yep. Yeah, we were. It appears we were very fortunate.
Yeah.
Happy to be.
You know what? He could be a comparison of Dallas Clark, Bino. What do you think about that comparison?
Yeah, I thought Brian said that on a couple of. He calls him Dallas Clark on steroids, and I think that's a perfect description.
Yeah. Hey, Tony, how do you think my Titans did in the draft this week?
Very, very well. Very well, Josh. How about you? I'm very pleased with.
I think they did a pretty good job. It seems like they have a front office that really cares now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Matt Dixon, we were exchanging texts, and he thinks the Titans did well as well, so it's good.
I really like that kid they got from Stanford, the Aya Maynard kid, the wide receiver. I think he's going to be a big game changer for them.
Do you find him to be a big play guy or more of a possession guy?
I think he can be a big play guy, stretch the field, and he'll be one of the guys they look at when they take a deep shot. So
yeah, I was telling these guys that I have a sneaking feeling that this Luther Burden guy out of Missouri is going to develop into a very productive receiver in that league. I'm talking like
where did he end up? What team did he go to?
Detillier was talking about that earlier. Where did he end up, Bry? Where did Burden end up? You guys remember? Luther Burden III. He's one of my picks to click out of the league.
Nice one.
I guess nobody knows. All right.
I'm sorry, Tony. I don't remember who took him.
Yeah.
I'll look that up whenever I get off.
Yeah,
here.
I got to look it up myself now. I'm curious.
Hey, so Tony, do you know anything Tennessee is in on this shooting guard from
Chicago
Louisiana
Bears.
Tech?
The Bears.
Shooting guard from Virginia Tech?
Louisiana Tech.
Yeah, I know they're involved with
Their husband today.
I know they're involved with some different people as they work down their list. There's an international prospect they're involved with. Again, they're going to sign 2, and then they're going to bring the brother of Akpara in. And I still think they're going to keep 2 roster slots open in case a fifth-year thing pops or something else extenuating. So I think Tennessee's roster's far from done.
Where was Akpara's brother at last year?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
He's a project,
Right.
and so he's not going to play right away. They think in time he could be a player for them. They also are trying to keep Akpara happy and in the boat.
Hey Tony, I wouldn't mind if Tennessee went out and went cheap trying to get the Tyson kid from North Carolina, sort of like a bench piece.
Yeah, they kicked the tires on him and decided against it. I don't know. It's interesting. A year ago, he was one of the more highly paid and highly sought after guys out of the portal, and now he's having trouble finding a gig. So
yeah,
it's extremely interesting how things can change. And obviously, I don't think he made the right decision in going to North Carolina. You know, Bino was talking about the pressure that these guys can place on themselves. You're in a spot like North Carolina. You're one of their signature signees.
Yep.
You come out of a place like Belmont. You're in the same league as a guy. Your point guard went to Maryland and blew up. It had to be very, very difficult, Bino, to be that Tyson kid last year and watch all that transpire. I would imagine it was pretty mystifying to him.
Yeah, absolutely, Tony. One of the very best that are out there playing do a couple of things. They stay in the moment better than most of us.
Yeah.
They don't let yesterday or tomorrow cloud their thinking. They're in that moment. And the other thing is they don't spend a lot of time on comparison in how they're doing as opposed to someone else.
Yep.
And it's very hard not to do those things.
Oh, man, especially when you see one of your teammates, the Gillespie kid, just utterly blow up. And you're over there, and now this kid just wants an opportunity to play for somebody. That's kind of where he's at right now. And Tennessee could get him very cheaply. I hear they decided against it. At one point, it looked like they were going to do it, but I think some other names have emerged on their board that they're involved with.
Yeah. Tony, switching over to Tennessee baseball, I'm going to kind of go off what Taylor was saying. I really feel bad for Dean Curley, and whoever decides to send death threats to him, they are jackasses, and we don't need that in this program. He is probably the most person that feels the worst about this situation, and I hope when he gets back tomorrow and certainly this week against Auburn that he gets a standing ovation when his name is called in the starting lineups. And Tony, out the door, we're going to make Auburn feel this week.
I know one thing, Tennessee better win that Friday night game because they have to start taking advantage of this kid's starts. That Friday night game is a huge game in this baseball season. Might be the most critical game that they've played this year, Bino, that Friday night game.
Well, Tony, they without question need to win the next 2 series at home. You've got to win those 2 series when we're talking about a top 8 seed, and that's the next goal is a top 8 seed, and then just get there. But I just think Liam Doyle's going to do his thing. I was really, really happy to see how well Marcus Phillips pitched in that environment down there on Saturday after just a stinging loss on Friday. That was, in my opinion, the best thing that came out of the series.
Yeah, and Marcus Phillips, did not have a chance to allow a lot of stolen bases because nobody got on base.
No doubt about it.
Nobody could get on base. He was that overpowering.
No doubt about it.
And all they have to do now, they go 5-4 in their last 9, and they'll be 18-12, which Chris Burke says that's hosting super regional territory. If you're in the SEC, that is.
Yeah, and that's still should be the goal. And then I wondered aloud into the microphone, would it be the worst thing in the world for them, which is heresy to say, if they had to go fight their way out of somebody's building in a super regional? Obviously, you don't want to advocate for that, but you can wonder aloud. This team looks like they do their best work. I mean, they played really well. They led for 17 innings. Sunday just got away from them very quickly. I know some people are second-guessing, introducing Russell. Look, if you're going to go where you're going to go, you've got to introduce Russell as a starter at some point. And they scored twice to start the game. And the truth is that past Tennessee additions, and this team maybe 6 weeks ago, would have scored 6 runs off that kid in the first inning the way he was having trouble locating Bino. That's the stone-cold truth about this deal. This team was lucky to get 2 runs off of him the way they've been going offensively. Just the truth.
Yeah,
because he was really shaky.
Tony, I'd like to know the number, but Tennessee has to be among the best teams in America throughout, even when we didn't have a great program. As far as if they get to the super regional, they're going to win the dang thing for the most part. I don't know what that number is, but it seems like it doesn't matter where that's played either.
Well, that's a really good point.
Don't tell Notre Dame 2022 that.
It's a really good point.
That's right, I think that's the only exception.
It's a really
yeah.
Because
just overall, their number has to be terrific. Because in the super region,
in the Delmonico era, Bino, to your point, they would either stink out loud or have a team that got to the Supers and got to the College World Series.
Yeah, they either wouldn't make it to Hoover or they'd go to Omaha.
And Tony so far has been to the College World Series how many times, guys?
3 times, is that right?
3. And he's done it 3 out of 4. And Delmonico's team, did you ever remember them losing in a super regional? Because I don't. So I would think they're way up there, Bino.
Yeah, I don't remember them losing in a super regional.
I think Tennessee overall is 4-1 in super regionals. I think the one loss was Notre Dame in 22 with the best team they've had, by the way.
And that's the irony. Yeah, that's the irony.
80% is pretty good, isn't it?
That's why baseball's nuts. And college baseball's crazy. And I wonder if Lindsey Nelson, guys, has lost some of its edge because those kids are no longer right on top of the field. Now they're paying Tony a lot of money.
5-1, excuse me, 5-1.
5-1
super regionals.
Wow.
I wondered about that last year. I saw students go way down and have to go. They had to keep walking as you went down the last section, steps on the last section along the right field wall. And I kept thinking, how come they're making these students sit on those uncomfortable bleachers? Shouldn't they be over there closer to home plate? Or is that where you've got the high dollar people?
Oh, no doubt.
They don't want to move them. Well, I guess that's what they're going for.
They used to have them right behind Tennessee's dugout, and I mean to tell you, it was a hornet's nest in that place when they did, guys. But what are you going to do?
Anytime you have a revision of your stadium or arena or whatever it is, the students are getting hosed.
Yep. Todd Walker made the point yesterday that LSU introduced some very expensive seating, as they called it, right next to the field, and it's taken away the ability of the infielders for both teams. The stands now jut out. They're not putting students in those seats. You know, I'm not excusing the money grab because you got to pay your coach, $3 million now? It got very expensive very quickly. So, and I'm sure the guys on the coaching staff aren't coming cheaply either. So I understand that. I just wonder at what expense have we done it. Matt brought it up yesterday. And Will Heflin agreed with him. It doesn't feel like it has the same bite to it. And
creating atmosphere is priceless.
Oh, I agree, Brian. You don't want to lose your edge, because if you lose your edge, you lose your edge, and your edge is everything.
You can't put a dollar value on that.
No, you're right. But Bino's right too. Show me an athletic director that wants to give students good seats. The reason those students had good seats to begin with is nobody was going to games. So it was quaint and it was fun, and the legends of Lindsay were born. And now it looks like the refugees on the roof. Because they ought to have, that's the next step. They're going to move them up on the roof where the Haslams are. Put them up there on the roof. Because I don't think you can get them further away from the field than they are. They look like refugees. And it looks like a helicopter that the helipad's getting ready to land and take like 10 of them out of there at a time.
Stokely in the Mears era is the only time in history anywhere that there's been high demand where the students had good seats.
There you go. We had a cattle call earlier. It was brief. And the students are in a cattle chute. Let's go back to our phones. 865-200-5402. Back to the busy phone lines we go. Hi, you're on the air. Welcome in.
Tony.
Yo.
What's up, brother? Brother Bino, what's up? Matt.
What's up, Ridge Runner? How's Ridge Runner doing, my man?
Real quick about that stadium. I'm just curious, was it ever in the talks or was it ever an option for them to just bulldoze that thing and build a brand new stadium?
I mean, I don't know. My answer to that would be I don't know.
You probably have to move they'd have to play over where the Smokies do for a year if they did that.
Well, that would have been all right. I always thought they should put a stadium and face it towards the river and have some cats out there in canoes chasing down home run balls, but we can only dream. Listen, man, Tony Balls is a legend. He's playing with house money this year. I mean, these guys that call in, our season, and I call them Karen callers, Tony, but dude, LSU is arguably the toughest place to play in the country in baseball and football, to be honest. But I mean, and that's why we love baseball. It's the essential. It's not over till it's over game, really. I mean, until that last strike, that last out, it's anybody's game. And hats off to them. They came back in the ninth inning and, they beat us.
Did you stay up, Sammy?
I fell asleep. Yeah, I fell asleep. I'm sorry. Take my ball card. But,
no, I'm not taking anybody's ball card. That's 2:00 in the morning. I woke up to see the implosion. I'll tell you this. When the second error was made, okay, I knew two things. Snead's going to have to get out of this because it's his game. And that proved to be accurate. And the second thing that I knew was we're losing this baseball game. Because, Bino, when you're playing a quality team at any level, I might be able to give you an out and get away with it. But when you load the bases with 0 hits, you're not getting out of that against a quality team, Bino. No way. At any level, Beanstar.
No, you cannot give them extra outs, Tony. Absolutely not. You certainly can't give them 2 in 1 inning.
And I wanted to magically think with 2 outs that, hey, they're going to get a pop. Jones going to pop the ball up in the infield, and we're going to live to tell about this and laugh about it on Monday. But you watch enough baseball, you know what's coming. Just like yesterday in the first inning, another truism is the home plate umpire missed strike 3, and the the next swing the kid hit the ball in the seats, because that's exactly the way it goes in that sport.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they keep calling it like that, we're going to have robotic umpires sooner than later. I mean, my gosh.
Well, the college guys really struggle. And the dude that was on second base yesterday, he had a mystery zone behind the plate, and he missed a call at second base where our shortstop, Antigua, looked at him like, you've got to be kidding me. I beat that guy by 2 feet. And the replay showed it wasn't even close.
Well, Tony, there's some great people, Mississippi. I know. I'm from Memphis originally. I know a lot of Mississippi people, fine people. Louisiana and New Orleans is one of the greatest towns in this whole country. Baton Rouge, those people down there are fantastic people. Those Mike Detillier, like you said, I could listen to that guy talk sports for several hours nonstop. And that's the thing. You imagine those people down there that late into the morning, early morning, just and watching that. I mean, you know, that was pretty incredible. And like I said, hats off to them. And that was an amazing comeback. And, you know, they're one of the best college baseball teams, obviously blue blood.
You know what I couldn't believe? To your point, 2.5 hour rain delay, whatever it was. I would bet you guys that 70% of that stadium stayed. That's how insane those people are, guys. It was still a really good, loud, because what you get after a rain delay like that, Sammy, is you get the people that really want to be there. And probably a bunch of them moved down, you know, and whatnot, Maury Hanks. Those people were into it now. Late at night.
And I guarantee you a few of them drank a case of beer.
Go!
Tony, and that's the thing, Mike Detillier, Will the Thrill, these guys that have played know what they're talking about. You know, the Negadays and the guys of this Colombo that want to moron on the internet, that's the thing. There's too many of them, and they're taking all this, and, we're going to suck, and this guy sucks. Listen, let it play out.
Is Colombo negative? Is Colombo negative online?
Yes.
That's surprising.
Hey, listen. The great Roger, let it play out. Heupel has taken us to the playoff. He should have taken us to the playoff that one year. Nobody's figured his shit out. Milton and Nico just couldn't hit the big plays. They hit those long balls. We get these teams on their heels, and we blow them out.
Go! Let's do it.
Tony, Cam Ward, that's the thing about where were all these guys when Hendon Hooker took the, you know, they never said he was going to be great. They didn't know. Cam Ward, where was he out of high school? What was he ranked out of high school? Tony?
In the 3,000s.
He is the number one pick, and I'm telling you right now, brother, he jumps off the page. Kind of like watching Dalton the beginning of the year that year, when you see him go into the lane and go up over a boy and slam the ball, and you're like, okay, we got something here. I'm telling you right now, Cam Ward's about to do something, and the Titans are going to the Super Bowl, brother. Mark it down. Go Big Orange.
Thank you, Sammy and the Rich. Bino, what did Sammy and the Rich have today? Colombian Red, some sense of meal, some homegrown. He got the Titans in the Super Bowl, Bino.
I love my guy Sammy.
Oh, I love it. He's my ridge runner.
I'm not going. I can't project what. You know, I talk about a lot of stuff I don't know on here, but
yes.
I have no idea the different variations that may have been smoked.
On your TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime, presented by our friends at TLD Logistics for all your shipping needs. They've got you covered. They make America move at TLD Logistics, and if you're in the game, they want to talk to you. They are doing some really innovative things at TLD Logistics. They're online at tldlogistics.com. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
Hey, guys, Dave.
Hey, Dave, you just got a shout out, man.
I'm not. He said I'm online. I'm not online. Is he talking about calling in or what? He's talking about on the internet.
I think online he was talking about Mark from Columbus, I think, online. Dave.
I think he mentioned me, but I commented on one of Tony's YouTube channels, the videos he had on the other day. Other than that, I'm not online. But anyhow, Tony, you think, getting back to basketball, you think that what they know now, Louisville signed McNeely, the guard that we were after early, for 1.8. You think now, knowing what they know, they could have matched that or even given him a little more? Because they've struck out so many other places.
Dave, I think probably when the decision was made that they were going to go all in on a mint, that took them out of that range. But Tony would know more about that than I.
Hindsight's always 20/20. The McNeely thing, though, did not come down to money. It came down to the fact that he was going to have to go to school for another year to get his degree. And Tennessee could not believe it, but I'm telling you, that's exactly and that's what kicked them down this really crazy path. Because when Louisville took McNeely away from the Vols, Tennessee was not going to let them get him in. It became, you talk about something that became personal to Rick Barnes, that thing got real with Ament at that point, because they were not going to let Louisville win in that deal, in the Ament sweepstakes. Here's the thing that I was told that happened with McNeely. And look, we're the only ones crazy enough to talk about this on the record. I don't care. It is what it is. The truth shall set you free. But inside Tennessee's apparatus, their side of the story was, and they're not going to say this out loud, but the side of the story is that the kid lost 3 credit hours transferring from Virginia to Louisville. The kid was going to lose 20 credit hours or something close to that, a semester and a half or something, even more than that maybe, transferring to Tennessee, and he could not justify that. And you know what? I don't blame him. He wanted to get his degree, and he's going to get his degree, and he's going to get paid by Louisville. So to the victor goes the spoils. But, Dave, that's what happened there. But you are right. That kicked Tennessee down a path where they've had some goofy, crazy things happen here.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'd already forgotten about McNeely.
I know, Bino.
I know this is a short process.
I know, Bino.
That seems like so long ago.
I know.
Yeah, that McNeely kid is about a 42% career 3-point shooter.
Would have been perfect for them.
3 years at Virginia.
But the deal was that academically, and that's the thing, he's a 3-year player who wants to graduate, and he was not going to go for another year. And Tennessee looked at the kid and said, hey, good luck to you, man. We don't blame you, but it pissed them off royally when they lost him because they thought they had him.
Hey, can I ask you something? How in the world have we gotten to the point, and I'm a Tennessee graduate, I love it. How in the world have we gotten to the point where things don't transfer from the University of Virginia to here?
It's a great question.
I have no idea.
He's pursuing a degree that doesn't exist at UT.
Okay.
So that's what happened. They tried to find a match for him, and they tried and they tried and they tried, and that was the best they could come up with. It wasn't like somebody at UT said, "Oh no, you're not." It was some kind of history degree. I forget exactly. I've got it in my notes somewhere. But it was some kind of degree that it exists at Louisville, and it does not exist here. I mean, you can't.
So you're telling me this wasn't like me losing things coming from Cleveland State, right?
Oh, probably not. Probably not, Bino.
Well, what's crazy is that Joey Aguilar transferring from UCLA, they're still on the quarter system.
That's right.
I was at Tennessee when they switched from the quarters to the semesters.
Chris Lowe had a real interesting take on Aguilar. Apparently, he's working on a couple of classes to satisfy getting a degree from App State right now. And that might happen before even this thing with UCLA happens, which means he could get here sooner. And if that doesn't confuse you, nothing will. Because I'm just like, okay, we're in like silly territory right now. But I believe CeeLo wrote something to that effect. Please do not quote me on that.
I mean, there's just no rules to anything now.
No, but we lost the guy because we lost the one guy who cares about academics. I mean, you can't make that up, man.
I mean, if I'd been, I'm not Barnes, but if I'd gone, I would have tried to go find the money and bumped up Gillespie and went out and got his buddy that he played with. They had chemistry. I would have just done it. I mean,
and not taking them in.
Take them both.
Well,
listen, Tony? Do you want to be left behind, or do you want to really do this? And Barnes he's gotten lucky the last two transfer cycles. He has. He had no idea that Dalton was going to be what he was.
No, I think they have a really good organization. I don't think they got lucky at all.
But still, saying it and then it actually happening on the court are totally different.
Now, that said, if it was me, I would much rather put my money in a known than an unknown. Nate meant to me is an unknown. But I don't get paid to make those decisions. I get paid to second guess those that make those decisions.
I mean, that kid's got to come in here. You know about pressure? He's got to average over 15, 16 points a game. He has to.
Hey, Dave, who's Tennessee's off guard going to be, Dave? Let me hear you say it again. It's a great bit. It's a great bit. You say it. Just please say it. I love when you say his name.
Well, you better be prepared,
Dave.
Mr. Good-looking man.
Say his name.
Bishop Boswell is going to be your two guard.
He called me a good-looking man, Bino. Did you hear that? You think I'm good-looking? Do I look good on the YouTube?
You look great, Tony, but he's wrong on both counts.
And you're out of here, Dave. Not only are you negative to damn hilt, but you can't judge beauty of face and skin. Bino, I love you. Any final thoughts here on the way out? Because your phone's getting ready to quit, and we were about to have an overtime to the overtime, and we ain't going to have an overtime to the overtime.
Tony, love you guys. Have a great week, and hope the Vols go out and take care of business this weekend. Lindsey Nelson against Auburn.
Bino, love you. Love your show. Good luck to you this weekend.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Brian Hartman, you could be the man, and tomorrow we'll turn around and do it all over again. We'll have Will Heflin with us. We'll have a special guest, Stoll Lee, breaking down scientifically and moving right to left across your device the Auburn Tigers, who are having a really good year this year after being a doormat last year. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you. We support you. I want to thank my friends at TLD Logistics. Appreciate your peace, and G to the B to the O. How about that? Oh, man, I could use a nap. After not sleeping on Friday, that catches up. Tony B welcoming you to another edition. It is your Tony Basilio Show. Fired up, focused, and more than prepared to be with you today. Feeling it, as it were, with you on an incredible, and I do mean an incredible Monday, here in the City to Champions. And you hear Bino over there clearing his throat. I got to give Will Heflin a lot of credit. That is one hard-headed kid. Miss Heflin, if you're listening to me, I'm looking forward to meeting you at some point. I love your son. But, boy, is he hard-headed. And he gets a lot of credit. Bino, he was in here yesterday choking, okay? Trying to do the post-game. Choking.
It's a tough pollen time, Tony, for those who suffer in the spring.
Said he's never been sick with it before. I said, Will, when you're choking on the air, okay? When you're choking on the air, It sure would be great, Will. It sure would be really, really nice if you would, when I hand you a water bottle, drink from it.